Good afternoon everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the channel. I hope you're well, hope you're looking forward to today. We're in central United States of America at Omaha. We've got the VerticalSim's new Omaha scenery, though it's been released now, it's been out for a couple of months, so we're playing catch up a little bit if you like. Based on crash to desktops and issues from a couple of weeks back, some content that I've yet to be able to explore until today. So we're doing a double whammy. We're going from Omaha to the amazing Flightbeam Studios Denver for a turnaround in the 737-800, the good old PMDG 738, and we're going to then be heading out further west to Boise, I think it's pronounced. If I was if I was to pronounce it the normal way in this country, it would be Boise, but who knows. If you're new to the channel, welcome on board. Please do hit the subscribe button, give us a like throughout the stream today, and of course give us a little wave in the live chats. All the links are in the description, so if you do fancy getting your hands on this scenery, you can find the links there. It's all available actually on the Contrail web shop, so well worth checking that out if you've never checked them out before. It's very, very good. It's basically a competitor to Warbex, if you like, to sort of describe it simply. We'll mooch through the airport a little bit and explore what the airport has to offer. The interior is not too mind-blowing. Look, it's a clever bit of glasswork with a dynamic image that moves, and some of the flags and things are static, as you can see, but all round very nice. Certainly for a regional airport it seems good enough, and not too expensive either. That's got to be Gav in the Osprey. That's Faris, I think. Yes, he's in a private jet today. We've been on stand for about 30 minutes now. The sunrise here has been incredible. There we are, Freedom One. Let's go. We'll arc back round just to edge past the edge of the terminal here. We've got quite a few people spawned in ready today, and an EasyJet unfortunately. Of course there would be one. Who's in the live chat? Let's have a little look. Look over to my other screen. Lots of green. Badger, Skyworker, Matthew F, David Bartley, Gav Good, day to you guys. Doc on board. Dercy2, Faris, Hola. David L, good morning, and good morning to you, Automator and Fritz. So William, howdy. John, good afternoon, buddy. Dercy2 Shuts, hello folks. So we've got GSX in use today, but actually I'm not using it for boarding because I've not used for quite some time now the full bar pushback mod, that awesome bit of freeware that we all enjoy and have enjoyed for quite a while. So we're using that for pushback today, and then we will deboard towards the end of the journey today with GSX, and we'll use the Southwest ground equipment stuff too. Dylan, hello, welcome. Cracking livery. It's available on flightsim.to, and that's linked in the stream's description as well if you do want to get your hands on the Freedom One livery. And I've gone ahead and tweaked a couple of the settings and things for this Southwest jet because they do some cheaper stuff, don't they? So we've got the original lights that pop out through the bottom of the belly, the taxi lights mounted inside the nose wheel area, which otherwise wouldn't be there in the LED version. We put the Wi-Fi antenna at the top as well, and inside the flight deck we've gone a bit more old school with analog displays as well. Why not make it that a little bit more complex today? Jack, yeah, it is the most American livery going.
Traffic United 2048 radio check.
Readability 5. So 2 legs today, roughly an hour and a bit long each time, and you can see here a little bit light actually on our first journey today. 133 knots for V1, rotating at 134, and V2 142. So I'm just going to put 152 in the box here. Runway heading is 142, and altitude for the tops of the Cattle 3 departure that we're using today is 5,000 feet. So we've gone ahead and pretty much prepped most of the aeroplane
traffic, United,
ready to go.
655 radio check.
Readability 5. And we've got the Luke Air tool, which gives us a load of cool cabin announcements as well. Let's have a look at Navigraph. There we are. Small terminal area here at Omaha, or Epley, I think it would be Epley ground. Looking at the charts at the top here, I assume we'll be saying Epley. So yeah, quite a small terminal area, being a regional airport. We're expecting a departure runway 14 right, which is the closest end at the top by this small light cargo ramp down here in the fire station. So we're going to push start facing north, heading out over the north ramp onto Alpha 1 and Alpha, down to Hold Point Whiskey runway 14 right, and then we're going to take off runway heading 142 degrees on the Cattle 3 departure. So initially heading southeast, and at or above 1,700 feet on the charts there you can see, with a top altitude of 5,000 for jets. We will start to vector ourselves. So if we go onto the main chart here, this bigger sort of square with all the detail on it, you can see our little magenta bug, which is our location. We're going to head basically towards this Omaha VOR effectively, and then we're going to turn westbound up towards the Walbach VOR 114.8 OBH. From there, up to cruise at flight level 360 potentially, but Brewery is going to be the start of our SID on the Lager 3 RNAV arrival. So we've got the Lager 3 Brewery transition here. We'll be descending down to flight level 200-ish by Lager. Pint at 250 knots, between 15,000 and flight level 210. And then down into Denver with that whole messy maze of arrival procedures there. But in effect, we're going to go pint, tap me, grub, which is this top bit here, as we vector ourselves out then at that point to our approach, expecting runway 16 left, roughly anyway, who knows. And then we got Volanta fired up too. We've got Floyd's Epic Clouds version 4, or 1.4, I forget which, fired up, which is going to give us a number of potentially different cloud layers and textures, but we'll have to see if we do get some weather feed in. We're using Rex Live Weather to feed in the weather today as well, in lieu of some continuing issues that I seem to have when I use Microsoft Flight Simulator's live weather. Nabil, hello, welcome on board, and thank you very much joining us as a gold frequent flyer there. Awesome. So, what have we got here? Cabin announcements while I review the checklist. Oh, you know what we need to do? Because they still haven't fixed it. We need to unplug the yoke, the throttle and the yoke. Hope the sim doesn't crash to desktop. And then plug it back in again. Because their latest software update has buggered up the throttle. And I keep forgetting, and it's really annoying. But hopefully, me doing this every stream will make them actually try and fix it quicker. Who knows? Right, we're back in. Not sure what happened with live time there though. We just jumped forward and no, we're in real time. There is no way in it's 11:17. There we go. That was weird because the sim's just changed its time itself. Altimeter's 3007. We need to pop the APU on. After pump is on, so 1 and 2. Make sure the parking brake is on, and then because it was so dark, I've actually been using this dynamic lighting as well that PMDG have put in. So now it's started to brighten up a tad. We can turn it off like so. Watching the APU fire up, waiting for the bus gen lights to come on here so we can basically transfer the power across. And it won't be too long before we start to push back. What we can do while we wait is re-enable pushback from toolbar pushback. Happy days. Good to be using this again, nice and familiar. We can pre-plan our pushback. Dirty2 says that was creepy. Just also had the sim revert my time back to local. One moment it was day, and then I was plunged into darkness. So there is definitely something weird going on with the servers again today, then, isn't there? Because we've just had that as well. Very weird. It's odd that the sim becomes so unstable for some weird little things like that. It's also extremely frustrating. But I'd still choose this over X-Plane. Massos just slammed it into Caton Contin. Very nice. Very difficult approach, like you're saying there. APU's good. We just need to bleed it in a little while. Let's have a look at APU Gen. That's on automatic. Let's get rid of the ground equipment here. FS actions, ground services, release. JM Aviation, hello, no GSX. So we've got it fired up today, but I wanted to use toolbar pushback. It is installed and ready, but I don't want to use two and risk like it clashing with one another. So I haven't used it for boarding today for that reason. Badger had the same issue. Shuts primarily. I'm trying to put stuff back into the sim to try and identify the cause of the crash to desktops and things we were experiencing, to see if there was something else. John says my sim just went into darkness and I'm on live weather. How random. Okay, so everybody seems to have had that same issue that you guys have just seen live on the stream, where the time's just gone all really wonky all of a sudden. Very, very weird. Okay, so that's all of that on. Make sure those are off. That's on automatic, still on gen for power. Altimeter set, transponders on 2000. We've done all our loading. Cruise altitude pressure panel and the landing elevation pressure panel both set. 360 and 1000 here at Omaha. Flight directors are both on, and radios frequencies are set with ground equipment clear. Doors closed, chocks removed. Will be in a moment. Now they are.
Denver traffic, United 2048, pushing back off of 13.
And anti. That's only 2 stands back, so are we going to be in conflict? Just about to start pushing. Look at that. Wow. Oop, there's the building. It looks pretty epic, doesn't it? What a livery. There's no one at stand 15. Also conscious. Oh no, there is a solid dashed line there. Good stuff. Right. What is it? Is it Epley? Epley traffic southwest 1967, gate 17, push start to face north onto Foxtrot 3-ish. Epley traffic. So, anti-collision lights on, request pushback. Here comes the beast of a tug. Holy moly. That is mega. Interestingly enough, I think it's using the GSX tug, which is quite interesting. Fuel pumps are all on, packs can go off. Ignition mode selector, it's on both. Some people say you can put it onto ignition right for your first start of the day. But flight sim never really is much of a thing, is it, to be honest? No idea where the tug's going. That is United. There we go. Yeah, that looks like it's in the right position, doesn't it? Good grief. Right, first time using toolbar pushback for a little while, and I tell you what, it does not look promising, does it? Absolutely no idea. Let's see if the tug sorts itself out while we just reset this. And if it does it again, I'll tell you what, as quickly as it's been reinstalled, it'll be uninstalled. I like to give these things a go, give it a chance.
Omaha, police Southwest 1110 on push and start gate 19, Omaha Blue.
Yeah, look at that. Actually, that's lined up a bit better that time, look. Oh, maybe not. Jesus, where's he going? Okay. There we are. It's just being really buggy. Okay, so packs are all off and ignition mode starts to switch to ground. Watching the N2. Bob, it is suspected to have a memory leak of some sort, yes. 320, we've got the old ignition fuel control lever switches now today. And then up here in the overhead as well, right at the top, we've got the broadband / Wi-Fi control panel right at the very top of the thing as well. Oh yeah, that's such a cool livery. MG King said yesterday he had a problem with the live weather. It somehow stopped providing metadata. Interesting. Start valve open for engine 1. I suspect that is pushback complete because we don't have the announcements, which is rather odd. Yeah, he's off. Jolly good. Ta-ra. Let's deactivate the pushback program for now inside the top menu there.
Denver traffic in at 2048, taxiing runway 4 left via Golf 5, and holding on Golf 5 off of Alpha for accompanying traffic. Correction, holding short of Alpha on Hotel for runway 4 left for accompanying traffic.
Alright, y'all, if we can pretend to have your attention for just a few moments, my 2 young identical twin son and daughter are going to show you the safety features. I'm so proud of these kids. To properly fasten your seatbelt, slide the flat into the buckle. To release, lift up on the buckle. Position your seatbelt tight below across your hips like Michael Phelps or
Are the flaps out?
If you get mad, you want to take your choice and go home, there's 6 ways to get there. 2 forward exit doors, 2 overwing window exits, 2 rear exit doors, signs overhead, disco lights on the floor, linkage exit. Everybody gets a door prize in the seat back pocket in front of you along with 30
That's 1 and 2 both done. Flaps are on the move. Pop those onto continuous there. While I'm here, I'll do the taxi lights and I'll pop the jets on.
Everybody gets their very own teeny weeny yellow Southwest bikini.
Lovely stuff. Let's get the probe lights, probe heat on.
Wrap that strap around your waist, buckle it in front, pull it tight. Once outside, pull down on the right tab to inflate to manually inflate one of the 2 at your shoulder. The flight attendants are coming by, hoping they don't tell them how good looking they are. They're going to make sure your seat backs and tray table are in their full upright
and APU off.
Possible. And your carry-on items are crammed and shoved.
I'll do your dampers both on. We're going to go here. We're going to go L nav, V nav, auto thrust. Fact, I don't want L nav. I want heading select modes. There we go. 142. Because I'm lazy, I'm going to put that on now. Down the bottom, because I will forget. Set to 2000.
We'll even show you a movie tonight. We have
Heavy traffic, Southwest 1967, taxi 2, hold point, Whiskey runway 14 right via the terminal apron, Alpha 1 and Alpha. Traffic.
Basically, just do what we say and nobody gets hurt. And although we never anticipate a loss in cabin pressure, if we did, we certainly wouldn't be at work tonight. But if needed for oxygen mask will drop the compartment overhead. Stop screaming.
Okay, my rotors are super sensitive, so let's just slowly come to a stop here. Just going to go left and right a little bit on the rudder a bit more. There we go.
Facing north to the
Oxygen, that is. And if you're traveling with small children, we're sorry. If you're traveling with more than one child, pick out the one that you think might have the most earning potential down the road. And if you're traveling with somebody needing very special assistance,
Elevator trim sets, engine instruments have been checked as well. All looking good and in normal. So let's go
Then the traffic
all of the details on the front page.
Alpha on hotel.
We're going to do a warning
right on
recall there as
hotel.
well for max
Taxiing by
caution.
Hotel Sierra, it's runway 14 left.
Please tell us just as soon as we land in Dallas.
It's also
And if
hello.
there's anything you can do to make our flight more enjoyable, we'll tell you.
Brits enjoying the cabin announcements. Good to hear.
Very cheap entertainment. Nobody had to pay extra, but
Gonna
you
follow the
certainly don't get a
greens.
refund. Thanks again for choosing Southwest and welcome aboard. Okay, that's sweet, but cash is always better. Also, y'all, to enhance our beauty a little bit and set the ambiance, we're going to dim the cabin lights. If you need additional reading light, just push the button above your head with the area light bulb on it. That'll turn the light on. However, if you push the button above your head with the
Omaha
light
traffic
on it,
Southwest
it does not turn
1171,
us on.
taxi 14 right via Alpha 1 Alpha.
Shadow looks massive in comparison to the aircraft. So here we go. Last time we flew this livery, it was in the 737-700s, but it is operating in real life on the 800 variant as well. Look at that. There is our first and second screenshot of the day. Masso, it's the texture part of this particular livery, basically. You guys wanted to see a Southwest taxi as well, so here we are for today. Absolutely rocketing down the taxiway. And order brake is already on RTO. We're going to go to pre-departure checks.
2048 lining up and holding runway 14 left.
Why are you holding? Dylan, are you holding or are you taking off? There's the windsock. Always look at the windsock, see what it's doing, providing it's accurate and gives you an idea of the wind. That's telling us we've got a couple of knots headwind for us there, very nice. Fuel flow, reset rates. These speeds are checked, 152 is adding the 10, SP nav data radios are all checked, 5000, 142 runway heading. And we're just going to go direct to the VOR once we're airborne as well. Thanks, Automator. Badge is on his way. Yeah, United on runway 14 left. Are you taking off or are you holding?
We're taking off in just a minute. We're trying to get our clock to work for departure.
Yeah, roger. Southwest 1967's holding position at Whiskey. Flex lights off. Let's go runway turn off lights on. Final check of the overheads.
Denver traffic in at 2048, runway 14 left.
It's good.
Departing.
And start the clock for 2 minutes. I won't line up just yet because I'm conscious we might end up with somebody on approach and it'll be sod's law. Heavy traffic Southwest 1967's lining up runway 14 right via Whiskey. Epic sounds.
Epic traffic, United 2655 taxi via Golf to holding point Whiskey, holding point 14 right. Epic traffic.
Lost lights, strobe steady. Runway turn-off lights are on, taxi lights are now off.
Empty traffic, Silver speed 9015, pushing back. I will be following Osprey World Cargo to runway 14 left.
The landing lights out as well. Jeff, correct. I still don't intend to. It doesn't look much different to Explain 11, let's face it. A lot of people falling for the very cleverly worded marketing hype from the Laminar Research folks. I don't intend to fall for that.
Denver traffic at 2048, passing 2,700, direct Oscar Bravo Hotel.
Plus, in MSFS, you get the PMDG 737, and it looks like this. Why would you change? Even with the difficulties I've had over the last couple of weeks, still don't intend to change. Let's go to 40%. We're going to hold on the toe brakes. Heavily traffic Southwest 1967 is taking off runway 14 right, Canal 3 departure to Oscar Bravo Hotel. Cool, off the brakes. Toga. Let's go. Leg 1 of 2, folks. Off to Denver.
Airspeed's alive. 80 knots.
Nice runway textures there from VerticalSim. Great airport here at Omaha.
V1.
Start the rotates. Nice and smooth to try and prevent any tail strikes. Gear up. Hold in the flare. Ah, yeah. Absolutely epic. Look at that. Okay, let's go CMDA engage. Gear is up, no lights, so let's turn the system off. Order brake off. Runway turn off lights off, and engine start ignition to off. Through our flap retraction speed, let's go to flap 1 for now. And we can begin our turn to the right. Heavy traffic, Southwest 1967 is airborne, 3,500 feet and turning right, heading 220 degrees. Let's keep it going, wind it all the way up, 3.6. Not even sure we're going to get to that far up, to be honest. Make sure our flaps are up. And we'll go 273 degrees now towards OVH. And Southwest 1967 direct rollback. So direct 2, let's add it in there, execute, and then check the data, LNAV. Flaps are up, no lights. Check the cabin pressure, it's pressurising normally, and away we go. The chap who's created this livery as well, guys, he's created a couple of others, including a large sort of mega pack, if you like, of all of the Southwest liveries. So there's 2 special liveries, and then there's a mega pack that he's done, including I think 17 of the heart liveries, or 14 of the heart liveries, or something like that, which is remarkable. And they all come complete with a custom cabin, which we are yet to explore. Once I've done a couple of screenshots, there we are. We'll dive back in, and we will have a look. Look at that, he's even removed the IFE to try and make it more realistic. Southwest magazine there, and the safety cars as well. That's pretty smart. And then he's given us the actual cabin as well, the seats.
We'll be laying up on... Sorry, we'll be holding short whiskey for the Southwest.
Oh no, John, that's not good. Crew 10. Let's pop the lights off, runway turn off lights. We might as well put the logo light off as well. We'll leave fasten seatbelt signs on automatic. One less thing for me to break. We're going to continue through flight level 180 here in the States is the transition, so we're staying on local pressure for a little bit longer. But in the meantime, let's enjoy, let's pick a view. Yes. That's the current winner.
1171 departing 14 right, definitely.
For me, Jeff, interesting point. For me, I want a really good balance between the two. Jeff saying there that he's seen enough to know that I won't be bothering with X-Plane 12. So a lot of people mugged MSFS off when it was released for having a default Airbus A320 with quite a rubbish FMC or MCDU. But the A330 that they've released as the default aircraft, sort of the big airliner that they've pushed as the big thing that they're releasing inside X-Plane 12, uses a Boeing FMC, which is pretty rubbish. Ah, Dylan, yes, traffic. That's the one thing I forgot. Traffic and terrain.
Right, we have 2 minutes for separation.
There we are. Dylan, just fly normal speed, because otherwise it's going to go really wrong in Denver.
Traffic at 2048, passing 19,500, maintaining slow flight 250 knots, en route to Oscar Bravo Hotel, heading 272.
All the screenshots go on Volanta. Yeah, for me, there's not enough difference between X-Plane 11 and X-Plane 12 from what I've seen so far for me to justify
normal speed, passing
going to anything else, to be totally honest. To be, you know, just, yeah, I'm not sure. There's a lot of, I've seen a couple of people commenting on various other things around the internet, around the community, and the hardcore X-Planers are already back out again abusing MSFS folk for saying that they're not going to they're not going to change or try X-Plane 12 basically, and it's the same old arguments. MSFS has got crap figures, like crap physics. MSFS looks good, but it's not a real sim, and all these sort of moronic comments that come out from people every now and again. MSFS is as good as the developers who are creating the aircraft is basically. PMDG, nail on the head with their 737, wonderful, wonderful product, and each variant feels very different. And to be honest, I think that's pretty much says it all for me. I'm not that bothered about X-Plane 12. There's a lot of marketing hype. All of this, I think I saw something from FS Elite. Don't tend to look at that too much either, because it's not particularly transparent at the best of times with half the stuff that goes on that website. But I noticed one of the comments that they mentioned in the sentence for X-Plane 12 release, stating that they've redefined or reprogrammed the first principles of physics to make it the most realistic sim ever. And I was kind of then thinking to myself, is that Lamina then saying therefore that X-Plane 11 isn't realistic? If they've only just given it realistic physics for X-Plane 12. So it's things like that, you know, the marketing team from Lamina are very, very, very clever, and they're very, very good at what they do, and that is making something sound incredible when actually it's not very much different to X-Plane 11, let's face it, from what we've seen so far. And then the default aircraft look, I'm going to say, worse. The A330, for example, is a lot worse than the default A320 and MSFS. At least that has an Airbus FMC. And I don't have any loyalty to MSFS as such, like I used to do a little while ago. I've had so many problems with the sim at the moment, very recently, that I get quite tired of having to deal with problems and bug fixes and trying to understand what is going on with the sim when it goes wrong. And a lot of the time I find myself none the wiser. Yeah, I just don't see enough for me to actually bother changing at the moment, because as Christopher's saying there, from what I've seen as well, X-Plane 12 is just X-Plane 11 with some puddles and fluffier clouds. But we've had that in MSFS since 2020. And the fact that you're still having to buy things like, the realistic ortho products, which are silly money, like over 100 quid or so for some of those, for X-Plane 12, if you're going to change to X-Plane 12, for example, that's ridiculous. We get photogrammetry baked in here for free, which is amazing. Shuts there saying competition is good. It sure is, yes. But I feel like one of the main tactics of X-Plane 12's marketing team is to try and pull people that were very, very hyped with MSFS to begin with. They're trying to use the same words and the same buzz phrases to pull them back into X-Plane 12. I don't know. I've seen a couple of the recent streams of X-Plane 12 elsewhere. It doesn't look amazing at all. It doesn't look like it's going to blow me away or think/say, holy moly, I want to buy that. And there's a forum, there's already a sort of team of people for X-Plane 12 who are teamed up effectively to, as they've said, Zebify the A330, which is really good. But they're hailing this as a big success. Lava did that for the A320, don't forget. Zebo did it for the 737, so there's nothing new in the community, and it doesn't make X-Plane 12 better than MSFS, which is the argument that I keep seeing from the hardcorers. Absim saying that Captain Canada got crushed to desktop with the A330 earlier. Well, that's not good in the showcase variant. The A330 doesn't look great. 32's times just changed again, and mine. The heck is going on with this thing? Asso saying MSFS will bury X-Plane 12. The market for add-on devs is so much bigger, so why would they even bother with X-Plane 12? And I think this is one of the things that a lot of the die-hard X-Plane folk in the community don't really appreciate too much. The gap between Microsoft Flight Simulator and FSX was well over 10 years, I think, wasn't it? I can't remember the exact figure, I might have to Google it and research it, but there was a vast gap in time where there was no competition for X-Plane 11, so it developed and it developed and it developed into pretty much the only sort of main sim. And then you had a lot of other folk on P3D as well, but X-Plane were really miles and ahead of FSX and anything else, to be totally fair. And then of course MSFS released, and it's had its issues, still continues to have its issues. We're getting some weird things today with the time, which is very odd, but I still absolutely enjoy MSFS for what it is. The products that we're now getting on offer are incredible. We've, like Matthew's saying there, hello, good morning to you, Matthew. a lot of the big developers from the X-Plane world, InnyBuilds / InnyScene, even VerticalSim Scenery that we're using today, big player in the X-Plane market, and they've now come over towards MSFS as well to offer their products in this simulator instead. Jayla's saying expect X-Plane 12 to be in the early MSFS stage for a bit. Default aircraft are not yet modded to be decent and no custom aircraft to replace them, but it will mature into something nicer, but only with time. Which is what we've been saying for MSFS for a very long time, to the behest of people playing it down, saying that X-Plane 11's better. So do you see how this argument is now, it's interesting, now X-Plane 12 seems to have surfaced. We're getting all the arguments that we made in MSFS resurface being spun for X-Plane 12. But
United 2040 to Southwest 1967 on which speed?
It's an entirely different context. Currently Mach .80, flight level 300.
I think again, for maintaining Mach .73, we'll try to speed up for you.
This is why we said maintain normal speed. Yeah, Roger, what's your cruise?
The ground speed is Mach .7673, increasing to 80, and the ground speed is 433 with a wind from right to left at 42 knots.
Yeah, Roger, what's your cruise altitude?
Flight level 360.
Okay, well that's not going to work then, is it? Yeah, Roger. My planned cruise was also 360, so I will likely change to 380 then.
Don't worry about it. Top percent is coming out really quick. I'll just reduce the flight level 340. I'm already almost there. You can go above me and have some bit of a separation.
Yeah, we'll go Southwest 967. Massive saying, by the time X-Plane 12 is at the stage MSFS is in now, just imagine where MSFS will be. And the thing with MSFS being at this stage now is it's taken a huge feat from Masobo and Microsoft to get it to this level, and it's taken a huge amount of effort from a lot of developers as well. Phoenix, PMDG, all the different scenery developers as well that have helped create the sim into the phase that it's in at the moment. But X-Plane 11 has been out for quite a long time. It's been updated very recently as well, and the X-Plane 12 is just a continuation from that, sharing most of the same code, isn't it? So you would argue that actually for release it should be far and a long shot ahead of what X-Plane 11 currently offers, not just some extra clouds that look nicer and some puddles, right? Or am I missing the point? I'm not sure. Mayday there saying, I'm a huge X-Plane fan and used them since X-Plane 9. Wow. Going back quite a while then. But X-Plane 12 is disappointing for now. It will just never be visually as good as MSFS, but Jesus. Yeah, now I'm starting to get TA. So I'm going to go to speed intervention mode here. I'm going to go to max 7A, just to allow the nose to come up a bit more. Max 7. I want to get clear and away from Dylan there, because he's for some reason decided to take off and fly slow, but we're all flying at the same speed. So we've now ended up bunching up a little bit, which is not ideal. Just hold max 7 for now. Just get up and away. So now the issue is going to be our arrival as well. Matthew saying they've been working on that A330 for well over a year now. If it still has the default FMC in it, that's entirely on Laminar Research LR, and a completely unforced error makes the entire aircraft feel cheap, and it's an airliner. An airliner is its FMC. Not to have it is a huge letdown. Yeah, I share the same sort of thoughts with you there. When I saw that their A330 had a default Boeing FMC, I was a little bit confused actually, to be honest, for a little while, and then I actually thought it was a little bit, I'll try to think what word to use really. A bit of a, well, I'm going to say disappointment, but it was a little bit of a disgrace as well, really, because they've spent a little while doing a few things on Twitter and things, various things like that, just having very subtle digs towards MSFS over the years, haven't they? Let's face it. Even, I mean, stuff like this. Somebody saying, started up X-Plane 12 and immediately I'm dropped into the cockpit I know best. And even with default scenery, I'm seeing important features missing in other sims. What are they then? At least detail it. It's just, some of the stuff you read is just nonsense. So, 4 days ago, can X-Plane 12 fly all night with real weather without crashing? Let's find out. Comments like that. And there's a couple of people already reporting they've got broken installations. Some people getting black screens on X system when they're trying to load it as well. They've been trying to support, refresh it and sort of rerun it for an hour without having the same problem. Trying to find some of the really sarky things they've said in the past on their Twitter, because it's quite comical to think back now, thinking now we've seen an element of their current offering. I think it's quite rich of them, quite bold as well to criticise something when they've not even put the correct aircraft FMC into the correct thing. Right, well I can't find it anyway, there's a load of stuff, but hey. It's interesting to have this discussion today really, whilst still flying in MSFS. I was very tempted to download the beta and stream with it today, but for the things I've looked at, I just didn't see anything that was worth my time, to be totally honest. And I much enjoy this. Bob's saying let's judge it after 2 years. I mean, that's how long MSFS has been in play to be at this point. But X-Plane 11 was the predecessor of X-Plane 12. MSFS's predecessor was FSX. So there's a huge difference between the two. Realistically, let's be fair. Gav's got engine trouble. Oh no, that's not good. Christopher saying Austin Mayer developed a product with blade theory in the 90s and have been living off that for decades. Jack saying MSFS feels like it's matured and entering a big phase with Sim Update 10 around the corner. Absolutely, we have sharing your thoughts. I completely agree there. We have come a long way indeed. Yeah, hugely different to what this sim was on release, and at the time it was groundbreaking, wasn't it? Let's face it. When MSFS released, it was groundbreaking for what it offered, what it tried to offer and deliver, even if it fell quite short with its default aircraft and everything else. But holy Christ, now the things that we can fly and the way we can enjoy this sim is just an experience like we never, I don't think we ever expected. I certainly didn't. Not having returned to simming from FS 2002, huge difference really there. Matthew, hello buddy. P3D has had bigger steps forward in minor revisions. X-Plane 12 seems rushed and more like a minor revision of X-Plane 11. Laminar flew through shade at MSFS post-release, which now feels hypocritical. Yeah, completely. Just what we were discussing as well, actually. I find it quite ironic that the arguments that we had at MSFS trying to say, you know, give it time, is now what people are saying for X-Plane 12, but the difference between MSFS and FSX are totally different to that of X-Plane 12 versus X-Plane 11. Even the time frames, totally different. Made us saying, to be fair, Austin is a genius, but he has 29 employees and a very, very small budget compared to a Sobo or Lockheed. Big Cat, interesting, saying he flew X-Plane 11 and X-Plane 12 back to back yesterday in virtual reality, and his X-Plane 11 legit looks better than X-Plane 12, and that is disappointing. Wow. It's interesting to hear from you guys that have used X-Plane 11 and X-Plane 12. I've not used either, which is why I try and hold back on my opinion of X-Plane 11 a little bit. I haven't tried it myself. I can't give a substantive, concrete opinion really. But I've not seen anything to make me think I want to give it a go, realistically. Peter, good afternoon, buddy. Things are going well so far, touch wood, they continue, but the weather and the live time, weirdly enough, are not behaving today, again. Big Cat saying people say it's early beta, but the basic look of the sim is what it is. That's not going to change drastically. Totally good point there. Mark saying, I never really understand the kind of rivalry between the sims. Can't we all just be one big flight sim community that has one enjoy aviation? If you like X-Plane over MSFS or vice versa, then fine. Yeah, I agree, but it's what we're discussing today is the contrast with the comments we had when MSFS was released and the ones that we've continued to have as well over the last 2 years from that side of the community that have been very, very passionate defending X-Plane 11. And as Doc is pointing out, this it's not an early beta, X-Plane 12, it's early access. It's a version after beta, it's effectively a release candidate, let's face it. There's nothing for me anyway to think I want to go and try it out, to be honest. But like Mark is saying there, if you like X-Plane, you like X-Plane 11, and also, I guess you could throw in there, you've invested a lot of time and money into X-Plane 11 as well, then X-Plane 12 is a no-brainer. Why not improve your experience, especially if developers are updating their add-ons to work with their new updated simulator as well. Ultimately, whatever you enjoy the most is what makes this community. It doesn't matter what sim it is. There's a lot of people still using P3D as well, because they want the products that are available on P3D. They want the feeling of that little bit more realism as well to enjoy, which is great. But I feel like MSFS now is starting to come into its own really nicely. As somebody said a minute ago, it's maturing wonderfully. Christopher saying, considering that Sobo consults outside devs for stuff, I'm not sure that they have much more than 30-ish developers themselves. Yeah, I think Sobo was quite a small development house up until the point when MSFS released, and then obviously they've churned a whole load of money in that's allowed them to expand their workforce quite a bit as well. Not sure entirely how many people they backed. I know. If they're on the stock exchange, you can find out how many employees they have. Let me just do a quick search. Yeah, Mayday, I feel like that's also something that I share in my thought process. It would have been nice for them to have reached out to some sort of photogrammetry provider to say, look, let's do a deal. Let's feed live photogrammetry in like Microsoft and Asobo do in MSFS. Let's do the same for X-Plane 12. That would have really blown the competition. It turned up the rule books quite a bit, and it would have started to level the playing fields quite significantly, in my opinion. Asobo. Oh, they're not on the stock exchange. That's annoying. Interested to see how many employees they have now. Dirty too nice. It's one way to get out of work, isn't it? How are we getting on here? Brewery already. Holy moly. How far to top of descent? Let's have a look at our descent calculations. Run the forecast. What's our QNH or our altimeter? Sorry, at Denver. 3019 now. It's certainly nice to see that they've updated X-Plane. They've added some changes and tweaks to it to try and compete with MSFS. I think that's quite important, like somebody was saying earlier, the competition. Because if I was Asobo, I'd be sitting back, rubbing my hands, thinking, we haven't got realistically any modern competition at the moment, and a lot of developers are coming over to us. Now all of a sudden X-Plane 12 is here. Hopefully this is going to give Asobo a bit more of a kick up the backside to really, really improve on these updates that we're getting as well. Exactly, David. Yeah, if Asobo were that big, Microsoft wouldn't have had to have brought in working title to work on the Garmin GPSs in the sim. That's a very good point, actually, and something I'd forgotten about. There you go, Big Cat there saying 210 Asobo employees, and 120 of those are dedicated to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Batcha. Yeah, I mean, that's another way of looking at it as well. MSFS has matured very nicely over the last 2 years. Pilsner. What altitude do we want to be at Pilsner? Okay, that's our top of the descent then. We've got a little way to go. 80 miles to top of descent already. Awesome. Right, so we know what we're doing for the approach. What we can do is have a look at the charts again. Have a graph. Bingo. So at the moment we're already in this transition. We're just over Brewery at the moment. We're heading Dunkel, Kolsch, Pilsner, Lager, Pint, Tapme, Grub is our arrival here today into Denver. As runway 16 left. We're going to be doing the ILS approach. So from Grub, we're going to leave heading 265 degrees to end up vectoring ourselves to 16 left. We're going to go to Kipper. From Kipper, Haley, JP, I think. Jappy or JP? I'm going to say JP. J Dizzle. There's definitely got to be JP if that's J Dizzle. And then Jeeper. And then the approach here. So Jeeper, Joe Bob, Kurt, Kick Me, Leeds, Louis, and then touchdown. Leeds is about 4 miles from the threshold, 4.5, 5 miles from the threshold. Want to be at 7,000 feet at that point apparently. And Joe Bob, mandatory 10,000 feet. Where's the airport elevation? There it is. 5434. Holy Christ. Let's go to our elevation panel here. By 450. I think it's the highest I've ever wound that in the 737. Potentially. Might be wrong. The decision altitude, 5557. There is no way in hell I'm winding that up that far. So I'm going to flick the collar there across to radio. And then the PFD down here. If I just move the screen so you can see both. Hopefully you can. We're going to have 200 set. because ultimately they achieve the same thing. One's linked to Barrow, one is linked to the ground altitude instead. Transitions levels, flight level 180. Missed approach, climb to 5,900 feet in a climbing right turn to 12,000 feet, heading 218 degrees, outbound on a Foxtrot, Quebec Foxtrot VOR. We'll have to find that. VOR radial 254 degrees to cruise, intercept 26 DME, FQF and hold, as directed by ATC. But if we remain on Unicom, then what we'll do is we'll just vector ourselves back to have another go at the approach. Effectively, we'll try and nestle ourselves into the pack of traffic flying in. And then taxi charts, always get those ready as well. That's Omaha, that's not the one I want. Let's clear that. Let's clear the Cat 3 departure as well. We'll go to Denver's charts, quick check at the nav display to make sure we're not already in. Taxi. So, big airport, 16 left, we're going to vacate Foxtrot 4 probably, here, then we're going to taxi down, and then I think Doc put in our parking stuff as well. Let me just find the stand that we've been told to go to. I think it was C something, wasn't it? Right, Doc wants us at Charlie 66. So it's going to be Foxtrot. We need on course C, C66, which is quite brilliant, all the way down the very bottom via Charlie Sierra. So we're going to go whatever taxiway this is, left onto Charlie Sierra. So if we compare the charts, Foxtrot. Yeah, Foxtrot, Charlie Sierra, that'll do. Lovely stuff. Nice and easy. So we've planned everything, basically. That's fine, we'll use C66. So the minimums are set, we've got the weather, which is 3019, so let's set the Barrow. No, sorry, not Barrow, here we are. 3019. That's set. Formation Alpha, hello. Yeah, that's it, it all works out, Doc, doesn't it, in the end? 3019, that is set. Winds 220 at 12 knots. We've got a bit of a crosswind for us on 16. Gonna be interesting. We're going to select order brake 2. What does Fast Airplane Toolbox tell us actually for our landing? Flap 30, approach speed of around 143 with a planned landing weight of 57.2 tons. Both reversers and flap 30. Order brake 2. We don't want to be on the runway too long, but we don't want to vacate so quickly that it takes us forever to actually get to the stand, if that makes sense. It's trying to strike a balance. Christopher, pretty much, yeah. Doc plans most of our routes. We decide on the route and then Doc will dig around and try and find the real world equivalents for us to actually fly, which is quite cool. So I want to be a mandatory 10,000. Let's set 20 miles, 40 miles to top of descent. We're going to set 10. VNAV is already armed, and our nav is already armed. 10,000. We need the ILS frequencies. How about a good morning? 111.1. Which I'll do on the other boxes in a second. So actually what I'll do is I'll use the opportunity to do nav 2 1179 Denver. And FQF 1163. Which is important for the hold. We're going to pop those into the active boxes. Then we're going to go 1111. 1111, and then in the course we want 173. And nav 2 as well, 173. Even though it's runway 16 left, course is 173. Dock indeed. It's a massive airport as well. I've been there quite a few times in real life in the past. Fast airport. It's insane how big it is. I don't think we've actually caught Dylan up either, so it's going to be interesting. We might end up having to self-vector ourselves to space ourselves up from Dylan. While this is going on, I need to go to SimBrief, and I also need to go and try and create our next flight ready. No, that's not it. My flights. Trying to basically stay ahead of the admin. So for Denver, we're going to depart runway 17 right, Zimmer 3 to Chingy. Flight level 360. Then into Boise, we're expecting a Corp 4 via Colk, RNAV, runway 10 left. Zulu, and then Bravo 17 for parking there. Interesting.
Denver traffic in that 2048. No matter what we're doing, we can't maintain a high speed during our ascent due to the FMS trying to slow us down. For the VNAV path, we're slowing down to speed 244. We're trying to increase it.
And good evening to you, buddy. Dylan, yeah, we'll try.
Planning for only 17 right for Denver traffic.
So we've got 117.9 tuned in active on nav 1 at the moment, which is the VOR for Denver. No, we don't. 1179. There we go. 179 and then 1111. I'll make sure I've got FQF 163 as well. 1111 is also in that box. There we are. That's a bit better. 109 miles to run. Good spot. then our sim brief flight plan for the next leg is ready. And we're top of descent. I'm going to put this into 40 for now, just so we can monitor everything that's going on. When we get a bit closer and we start to think about flying the approach, what we're going to do is flick nav 1 and 2 across to the ILS box instead. And we're going to then fly the ILS, which is why we've got the course of 173 put in there as well. Now, interestingly, the VNAV is totally balked here. Let's just command this a little bit. What were we? We were 360, so let's do flight level 200. We're going to try and amend some stuff on the fly here. Pint. 16,000, why not? Oops. Stand by. 12, and then grub at 11,000. Where's Kipper? Mandatory 12,000, okay, but that's fair enough. Let's see what happens to VNAV now. There we go. We've got it back on profile. Just needed a kick with one of the wide gates there, probably. I think it was just trying to go to the bottom of one of the gates without thinking about it too much. So I reckon tap me, we could be at 13,000 then. Lager 3, tap me's over 12,000, isn't it? So let's do 12A again. Lovely stuff. Pretty good. Neil, hello, welcome. Apparently, oh, there's Dylan behind. I just see some nav lights in the background. That works. So we've just tweaked some of the nav data. We're letting it fly its thing on VNAV once again. HK, hello to you, saying, hey, I've bought this add-on, have to say, worth every single penny and worth blowing budget. I assume that's the PMDG 737-800, right? Brits, I have. I've tried Aspen a couple of times, indeed. Top-notch aeroplane. You don't need an EFB, although it'd be great when it does come. Add an extra little dimension to what is an incredible simulation of the aeroplane. No worries. That is a very yeehaw livery, isn't it? Right. So for 60 miles to pretty much our approach. Dylan says, unable to increase speed without steep descent or unable to maintain profile. Nonsense, Dylan's saying there. What aircraft are you in? Just check your nav data, because it could just be some erroneous nav data, that's all. That's what a little tweak of the nav data for me has got us into this nice little descent profile. We're going to vertical speed mode now though. I'm going to set 250. In fact, I'm going to leave it in VNAV because I want to see what it does. I want to see what it's going to do to itself to get from 302 knots to below 250 knots at pint, whilst maintaining our VNAV path as well. Because I think that is next. 250 at pint. There we are, 230 at Tapney. We're going to be doing runway 16 left. Let's add some little fixed rings. We'll do 6 and 10. We're going to put nav 2 across to the ILS now. So we have one less thing to do. No, Dylan, it's worked for me. I've not had invalid path. Weird music. Let's change the track. Yeah, the new LNAV as well is very, very good. The VNAV is wonderful in this. Through transition, let's go to the local pressure now. It's going to make changes to our VNAV look. And let's help the aeroplane out. Let's go to flight D10. Denver traffic, Southwest 1967 is overhead pint flight at 17,000 feet, altimeter 3019er inbound on the Lager 3 RNAV arrival, expecting ILS approach runway 16 left, will report passing Kaylee. Correction, we'll report passing Kipper, Denver traffic. So we can do little things like this to help the aeroplane decelerate as we pass Pine, helping that speed wash off. Glenn, hello to you, welcome. Saying, have you encountered any dramas with auto throttle clicking off whilst taxiing? Mine's doing it until I take off. Check your gens up here. It sounds silly, but if, for example, you turn the APU off before you move the bus gens across to Gen 1, what you'll find is the yaw damper up here will flick to off, and then it will automatically disconnect. It will automatically disconnect the auto thrust at that point as well. So do check it. Did I join Grub and Kipper? No, because I can vector, but to be fair, I could just do that. Like you're saying, just connect the dots, makes it a bit easier. Telling us now on the FMC that drag is required on the aircraft. So we're leaving the speed brakes out in flight D10, and the warning's now decided to disappear. So it must mean that we are making a bit more progress. And we're nicely on the profile. See what happens if we clean the aircraft up again. And we're back into decel mode again by the looks of it, so we'll just be proactive, helping the aeroplane slow down a bit quicker. We're at our next decel point. And at this point, I'm going to move that across. So we've got nav 1 and nav 2 onto the ILS. Both have a course of 173. And even though we're quite high up, 13,000 feet, we've got to think about approach now.
Speed 244 knots, flight level 150. Log at the arrival for runway 17 right for Denver traffic.
It's a high elevation, this airport. So we're going to be on, even though we're at 13,000 feet, we're actually quite low in reality. And Denver itself is past the pillar there, I think. Off in the distance. Basically, we're looking for a massive concrete mass. I think it's this here, all of this. A little bit off in the distance there, so still out of draw distance properly. We get rid of the terrain map because it's clear skies, we don't need it. Jack, yes. So you have to notice. You notice it takes a little while longer for it to accelerate. You notice a little bit more inertia. It just requires you to be a bit more proactive in moving the aircraft's pitch and roll and things like that in flight, because it could take just maybe like a fraction of a second longer for it to actually start to move. It's also a lot slipperier, so it's a bit more difficult to slow this thing down. Coming up. Mandatory 12,000 at Kipper at 210 knots. We're level at 12 now, that's good for us. Elevation is 4,300 something feet, so I'm going to now whack the lights on anyway. We don't need the local lights bright, let's face it. That's already on. And we're going to give the crew a chime. Dylan, yeah, we can do if you like. As long as we don't end up getting TARAs and stuff. More than happy to try. So Jeeper at 10, and after Jeeper at 10 we're expecting up down to 7 at least, approximately. Missed approach is 12. In here we're going to, it's telling us drags required. It's fine, we'll clear that, it will remind us in a moment. Just need to change some settings. Lap 3139 is 144 knots for our approach speed, so I think it's one of the slower speeds that we've flown this aircraft in so far. I tell him I'm 210 until Kipper, and then I'm just going to leave it on VNAV. It will begin to slow down to about 180 in a minute, because I'm going to deploy flaps to 5 very shortly. Jeep is the radar fix, mandatory 10,000. We've got local pressure both sets. That's looking good. We can bring the range ring into 10 on our nav display. See what's going on a bit better. 2.5 to Kipper. Erica. It's a cracking environment down there, look at that. And this is default photogrammetry in the sim. Just spectacular. Denver traffic Southwest 1967 is overhead Kipper and working to establish on the ILS. runway 16 left. Currently descending through 12,000 feet, speed 210 for 180 Denver traffic. We go flat 5, we'll move the heading bug around to Haley. Keep it going down to 7, why not? Where's JP? Go speed intervention here, we're going to set 180. We're going to descend around 1200 foot per minute, I think. Jeep is in 10 miles. Mandatory 10 at that point. So we could do 800 foot per minute, I reckon. Maybe even just set 600-700 foot per minute. That would do actually quite nicely, I think. We should be getting 173 inbound as well. We'll set it and we'll have a look. Flat 10. I can just about see the runway now in the distance.
Denver traffic at 2048, overhead Kipper, maintaining 210 knots until Joel Mag
Right, let's set 10.
for the ILS runway 17 right.
Little corrections, we're going to go for approach mode. Locks already established. Where are we? 20 miles, wowzers. We're below the glide slope. We'll go for 10, that'll level off, it'll give us a 5,000 foot descent basically. I might put, because we're at high altitude, I might put the APU on now as well. Use that for the packs. Lights and signs all on, and where are we at? Single channel ILS. Glide slope is just above us nicely. Water brake set. We're going to go to engine starts, both continuous. We don't want flat 15 just yet, we're going to close in a little bit before we do that. And then we gear down flat 15. Speed brake is retracted, it's now armed. Dan, hello, welcome. So the next thing on the checklist is going to be gear down flat 15. To be fair, it's going to be right about, well, now the glide slope's active, we could do it now. Denver traffic, Southwest 1967 is established. ILS 16 left at 10,000 on the glides. 13 miles. So we'll maintain 160 till 4. Gear down, flap 15. We've switched the bleed across to the APU. the packs. Let's get it down to 160.
Denver traffic United 2048, established on the glide slope, runway 17 right. Reducing speed 210 knots to 180 knots until Joe Mag.
25. What do we want? 133, 144. Got CMDBs on as well. Go around altitudes 12. That was weird. That was the Rex Live weather feeding in new updated weather there. It's so rough all of a sudden. I don't know why. What do we want? We want 144. Lap 30. 8 miles, final approach. Let the aeroplane do its thing for a couple more minutes, or a couple more seconds roughly, and then we'll fly the whole thing in. What an epic livery. Let's get my feet nice and comfy on the rudder pedals. I'm going to set 218 because it's going to be a climbing right turn to 218 if we do go around, so that makes more sense in my mind. Okie dokie. Continue, vacating left. Auto throttle off. Autopilot off. Now got a 5 knot tailwind, folks. Weather's just updated. 5 knot tailwind. This is going to be interesting. First time with a tailwind landing. 8 knot tailwind. Almost 10 knots now. Interesting. First time doing this inside the 737. So we've got to be a bit proactive. The aeroplane's not going to fly as we expected it with a crosswind in this instance. And it's actually variable now. Throttle setting is quite good, so I'm not having to change it. It's holding 142-ish, which is fine. 143. I'm not going to chase too much because the indicate airspeed change based on what the wind is doing as well. It's going between tailwind and everything else. It's minimum, so we'll continue. We are nice and stable.
100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
That's nonsense, the screaming. That was a beautiful touchdown. Go for 408. Concerning landing apparently, but I thought that was pretty smooth with a nice flare. And nicely accurate on the touchdown zone.
Denver traffic United 2048, 5 miles final, runway 17 right.
Looks like we're going to vacate Foxtrot 4, which is actually where we wanted to. So that's reverse off. And our brakes. Let's get the auto brake off. Denver traffic Southwest 1967 has vacated runway 16 left at Foxtrot 4. Taxi to stand Charlie 66 via Foxtrot Charlie Sierra, Denver traffic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Taxi. Naturally. Strobe steady, onto steady. And the next announcement from the Luke Air Tool.
On behalf of Southwest Airlines and your entire flight crew, would like to be the first to welcome you. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened and your luggage right where it is until the aircraft comes to a complete stop.
I keep remembering I've got to do a Southwest taxi. And make sure I don't miss my turn. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I actually felt like that touchdown was so accurate and with a nice flare, so I was kind of expecting it to be smooth. The rate of descent, I think, is nonsense because you are descending ultimately because that is what you're doing prior to landing. So I don't know, 400 foot per minute or so. I think that's pretty normal. What was the G? That's let me dig it out. The G is more important. 1.15 is a little bit firm. The G is kind of what I tend to look at more for how smooth my landing was. Here comes Charlie Sierra. Go left here. Speed's good for the turn. A little bit of brakes, around we go. Denver's great. Flightbeam Studios Denver, so good. Massive, massive airport. Wonderful on performance. Jersey2 says he got no screams yesterday. He had an 800 foot per minute fatal landing apparently. That's fantastic. Should we risk it, guys? Should we do GSX at this airport? The deboarding and boarding? What do you reckon? Or we could do boarding here with GSX. Let's see if I can fire it up. QATL. That's exactly what my announcement would be, Dan, yes. Not sure why, Christopher, because it's locked at 30 still. The output should also be 30. Parking gates from the middle bit. Here, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, actually, it's all the way down at the end, isn't it? 66, end corner.
Denver Trevor, Southwest 1171.
It does too. Shuts makes a good point there. Denver. And the brakes. I think this is the one we want. So taxi lights off. I forgot those. And I forgot those.
Denver traffic, Frontier 5047 on about a 10-mile final runway 16 left.
Where are we going? Here's this one. C48, you've got to be... What? Oh my god. It's because that is... That's the new airport, that patch there. That's super weird. Okay, well C48 it is. Denver traffic Southwest 1967. Changes stand to Charlie 48. It's as good as we're going to get, folks. That's something that Flightbeam Studios could do to update scenery. And also that jetway is in such a horrendous place. I can't actually park on the yellow line properly. So we'll have to stop here. That should...
1171, 5 mile final, 16 left Denver.
I mean, it's not amazing, but I think we're limited by the location of the jetway and everything there. That doesn't look right, does it? Quite messy. Hey ho. Oops. Make sure the APU gen is on. And in here we can put fuel control levers to off. Oh, we haven't got any GSX profiles. So, we're going to reconnect as our new call sign, Southwest 120. And with that, what I can do is actually use the yoke thing now as well.
Denver traffic, Southwest 1171, short final 16 left Denver.
There we are, 120.
South 8,
7660. Payload for the next leg. 152 passengers this time, so we've got a bit more. To a fuel weight 56.5, so we're not far off. And look how low we are on the cargo here. $450, $750. That'll do. And then we want KDEN to KBOI. Activate, execute, Southwest 120. That is the flight plan. Direct Changi, direct Reeves.
Denver traffic, Southwest 1171, down and clear, Foxtrot for Denver.
We want our fin res, that's on our flight plan. It will tell you in a little box, where is it? .6. And our cost index is 60. Zooming along at flight level 360 again, and cruise wind for this next leg of 301 degrees at 7 knots. N1 limit, we need our VAS airplane toolbox stuff now, so where's my ACAS, pulling the Simbury flight plan. And we're going to expect a takeoff on runway 17 right.
Really 7, exiting to the left, upper 16 left there, Denver.
Promises 3021 apparently now. That's quite the change. 3021, get rid of the master caution. And it was flat 5, thrust takeoff 2. departing on Denver's 17 right on the Zimmer 3 departure. So there we go. Barchangi. Execute. That's Alpha KBOI. We're looking at 090 degrees at 5 knots. We're expecting an arrival, KBOI, on our Zulu runway 10 left, which is that one. Port 4 via Kolki. There we are. I think it's Reaps. I'm just going to have to check on Volanta, sorry, on Navigraph here. Give me 2 seconds. Pull in my Navigraph stuff. Reaps. Right, what does that relate to? Port 4, Arnav. Up to Kolki, 210 at 8. Both of those are 210 at 8, good. And then we want Arnav, Zulu. Again, Kolki to Ulces. We can do that and tidy that up. There we go. Lovely stuff. And then we go back to map mode. Load up the Denver charts for our departure. Let's have a look if I show you guys my Navigraph screen now as well. We only need that one really. And then for the SID, Zimmer 3 is this. So holy moly. We're on that one there, runway 17 right, heading 173 degrees. So initially out, 593 degrees, and then a right turn, climbing up to at or below flight level, sorry, at or below 10,000 feet at Mugby. Then heading westbound 264 degrees, up towards the Rockies, and 12,000 feet at or above at Rolfie, Rapids 14 and above, Packens 16 and above, Zimmer 17 and above, and away we go to Changi then, up to flight level 360. Changi's there, and then we're simply just going direct to Reaps, which is the transition into the star. Reaps Corp 4, on our 10 left, Zulu via Kolki, which is that one. That's what that looks like visualised in the charts there as well. Effectively just flying a downwind leg with a continuous turn onto final. Rich, do we ever take off with more than flap 5? Yes. We do. We can, I mean certainly places like Skiathos. Skiathos is a very good one. So tempted to fire up GSX and just see what happens with this. Doc says use ILS Yankee runway 10 white. No, it's fine. We'd like to use the RNAV as well. So we've done an ILS and an RNAV approach. Doc says update from Boise, runway 10 left is closed at the moment, landing runway 10 right now. Why is that closed?
Denver traffic, United 2655, 4 mile final, on 6 left, Denver traffic.
I know, right? MPS Gaming, hello. Right, well, those of you flying along, it's going to throw you guys in a little bit, but we'll change to the Barnav Zulu runway 10 right. Still want to be by Colkey. Still want the Court 4 arrival via Reeps. That might have mucked it up again, so let's go back into the plan. Reeps, Soldi, Dursu. Enable 250 at Rexy. Why is that? Soldi 19 and above. Durso 190 and above, or 40 and above, sorry. Court should be 1250 and above. There we go, it's 12,500 and above there for Court. Still max 795 for those. Bowls 99 and above. I'm going to put 250 in here. And hopefully it can do the rest of it nicely. Grizzy at 8.9. Go away. Grizzy at 8.9. Leafs at 3.6. Leafs at 3.6? Oh no.
Denver traffic.
That's very broken. Roby at 8.1.
Denver traffic, United.
Okay, so that is, there's a very good example then actually.
6, Denver traffic.
Oh, and then it's doubled up because Doc made me. Brilliant, thanks Doc. We should have just stuck with the other one. Right, hold on. Where's Reeps? Reeps is there. Where's the other Reeps? Reeps is there. Good grief. Durso, Core, Bowls, Arexi. That's better. Grizzy 250. Leafs at 103. 250. Roby 81. Leafs at 103. It's 11 miles. I'm going to put in 8.5. Roby, then Colk. 210 knots at Colk, flight level 80. It's going to be 8,000. I need to change the other bits. And then we need to... Doc, cheers, I've already done that. Let's see. Arnav, Colk, Oyusi. 6,200. Nexi 4,700. Inian 1,500. Is Sebi down to 3,800. And then it's a 3-degree Arnav glide slope to the runway. So actually, it's quite a short Arnav approach. Looks quite cool. It'll be interesting. The final approach element with wings level is 3 miles, folks. Quite cool.
Traffic.
Civil Speed 9015. Here we are over Hipper, turning left to Haley to establish ILS-16 left.
18,000. Come off that plan mode. We can go to route data and pull the winds in. The Zimmer 3 departure doesn't have any VORs or anything to worry about, but we will flick these across so we have something to keep an eye on and track. Freedom, hello to you. Why flying into Boise? So, basically, VerticalSim have released scenery for Boise, and they've also got one for Omaha too. So, we thought we'd give it a go basically and go and visit their new airport. Something that I've been trying to do, well, a couple of weeks ago I tried to do it, but we were experiencing a number of crash to desktops and a couple of other issues, so it never really materialised for us, sadly. I think we're pretty much there, you know, folks. That's all good. They're set. They're set. We can now add our V-speeds because we put our departure in 144, 154. And let's put our flight directors back on. 218. I'm going to set, actually just going to set 360. Why not? Much easier. Then 173. Yeah, I've got the second call sign for this next leg for it, so we've basically filed the second one. Ian said, does Flightbeam's KDEN have an interior? I mean, that missing bit of terminal there is a little bit disappointing, to be honest. I don't think it has an interior, no. Was it? Oh, it does, it does, it does. Let's pop in. Oh, that's a double GSX jetway there, it's not excluded itself. Interesting. Yeah, look at that. So it looks better from the outside, look, the interior. But it's a huge airport.
Denver traffic, Civil Speed 9015, establish ILS-16 left.
Oop, there's the roof. So I think we're almost ready to go. I don't know how many other people are ready or down, so I'm just going to revert over to Volanta and have a little look at Volanta. Okay. That's Faris is the last one in. Everybody's in and taxiing. That's good. And you've all got the route plan for the next leg. Southwest 120. And we're going to start a new flight on Volanta as well. 563 nautical miles in total. MPS Gaming, welcome. No worries at all. Yeah, it's a fantastic livery, isn't it? And right, Zulu. Now, just take that on my little piece of paper. Right, I reckon we can start to think about pushback, folks. Right, that works for me. legs. That's takeoff trim 591. About there. APU's running, your dampers all on, they look good, sides are all set.
Denver traffic, silver speed 9015, short final 2.5 nautical miles to runway 16 left.
Pushback. So what we'll do is we'll try and trick the pushback guy into spawning now. So we'll click manual pushback. There we go, we get a tug up here. Click stop pushback. Then we'll pre-plan the pushback. So back we go. We'll do first waypoint up to that initial stop line there, and then we'll do a little turn out like so. Then hit enter. Grape Trooper, very nice. Yeah, always nice to hear how good a piece of scenery is based upon somebody who knows it very well. That's a good tell of something that, whether or not an airport is well worth buying or not, isn't it? Ultimately. 1228, 179, 1163. That's all good. Let's do a water brake RTO. Make sure that's on automatic. And let's start pushback. Interesting. So it's actually going to push back now without me having the tug connected by the sounds of it, because it jumped us a little bit there. Hey, look at that. Hopefully you guys are flying along on the next couple of routes as well. Denver traffic Southwest 120, Charlie 48, I think, push start to face east, Denver traffic. That park brake is off. And away we go, packs. Off. Isolation valve needs to be open as well. And ignition mode, start engine 2. Anti-collision light on, it is now. Exactly, Seller. Yeah, those sounds. Keep clicking the like button, folks, if you're enjoying today. I think that's pushback complete, so we'll set the parking brake. Oh yeah, he's going anyway. Thanks, Mr. Tug Driver. Round one. The only thing with GSX using it into Boise is we can anticipate potentially there being a couple of weird behaviours with it, because we don't have a custom profile for it. Flap 5 up in the overhead panel, got the gens on. While we're here, those onto continuous. Repeats on. Bob's good. Flex lights on, and now we can turn the APU off. I mean, in theory, I could potentially leave it on, being such high altitude, but we don't really need it. We've got a big old runway here at Denver. Winds 230 at 10. 20 degrees, 3021 for altimeter. I have flown to Helsinki Applegod, yes, a couple of times. Auto brakes on RTO, that's set 5 and green. LNAV, VNAV, auto throttle, all armed, and trim is set as well. We do system checks, all right, central, all left. Back, central, forward on the stick, central, rudder right, full deflection, and central back left, and all good. Pop engine screens there. I'm going to put that on TAR right now because I will forget traffic's already on, and terrain we've left off for now. I'll break off. Yes, we did. Helsinki to Gatwick, wasn't it, I think? Airport charts. So, Denver traffic, southwest 19, correction, southwest 120, taxi to hold point, Mike 10, runway 17 right by Charlie Sierra. We got that safety demonstration again to listen to. The Lucerto.
Alright, y'all, if we can pretend to have your attention for just a few moments, my two young identical twin son and daughter are going to show you the safety features because I'm so proud of these kids. To properly fasten your seatbelt,
Barris, no worries.
the buckles are released, lift up from the buckle. Position your seatbelt tight and low across your hips like Michael Phelps or the Speedo. If you get mad, you want to take your choice and go home, there's 6 ways to get there. 2 forward exit doors, 2 overwing window exits, 2 rear exit doors, signs overhead, disco lights.
That's something I'd like to see Flightbeam Studios do, is actually sort out this bigger bit of the terminal that's missing here at Concourse C, because that shouldn't be there. That's obviously where we were supposed to park today.
Take it out, check it out. You'll notice in the highly unlikely event that the captain lets us near a hot tub, everybody gets their very own teeny-weeny yellow Southwest bikini. One size fits all. Take it out only if told to do so. Place it over your head, wrap that strap around your waist, buckle it in front, and pull it tight. Once outside, pull down on the right tab, inflate to manually inflate one of the two with your shoulder. The flight attendants are coming by home. We think you'll tell them how good looking they are. They're going to make sure your seat backs and tray table are in their full, upright, and absolute most uncomfortable position possible. And your carry-on items.
Range ring in, 2 to 5.
Absolutely no right here, knees or feet. As you know, it's a no smoking, no whining, no complaining flight. It's a please and thank you, and you are such a good-looking flight attendant flight. Smoking is never allowed on board at Southwest. If without smoking in the laboratory, the card that's $2,000, and if you want to pay that for your airfare, you should have flown somebody else. If we do make you that nervous in the next 2 hours, you're more than welcome to step outside. We don't discriminate at Southwest. We've got a special smoking section just for you. We'll even show you a movie tonight. We have Gone in 60 Seconds. And the flight attendant serving you, her name is Wendy, and her motto is, if you glide, you can smoke it. Federal law group is tampering with, disabling, or destroying any smoke detector or webcam in either of our laboratories. Federal aviation regulation require passengers.
Brits, well, it depends on the country, but mostly up to 30 knots, I think, is what we tend to get.
Just do what we say and nobody gets hurt. And although we never anticipate a loss in cabin pressure, if we did, we certainly wouldn't be at work tonight. But if needed for oxygen mask to drop the compartment overhead, stop screaming, let go of your
Okie dokie.
pull out of that plastic tubing as fully
wait for the safety demonstration, then we will be ready for departure.
Activate the flow of oxygen. Simply insert 75 cents for the first minute and 50 cents for each additional minute. Although that plastic bag may not inflate, you are receiving lots and lots of jet oxygen, that is. And if you're traveling with small children, we're sorry. If you're traveling with more than one child, pick out the one that you think might have the most earning potential down the road. And if you're traveling with somebody needing very special assistance, like your husband, bless his heart, or your wife, put on your mask first. And that's it for the do's and don'ts of show and tell. Sit back and relax, or you can sit up and be tense. Either way, it's about a 2-hour flight. Gate to gate, the clock is already ticking. Seriously, y'all, if there's anything at all
Not really,
we can make
Fritz,
your flight
no.
more enjoyable, please tell us. Just as soon as we land in Dallas. And if there's anything you can do to make our flight more enjoyable, we'll tell you immediately.
We're
We're
going to
not
Dallas,
shy
we're going to Boise.
That's what we call very cheap entertainment. Nobody had to pay extra, but you certainly don't get a refund. Thanks again for choosing Southwest, and welcome aboard. Okay, that's sweet, but cash is always better. Also, y'all, to enhance our beauty a little bit and set the ambiance, we're going to dim the cabin lights. If you need additional reading light, just push the button above your head with a hairy light bulb on it. That'll turn the light on. However,
I'm hoping,
push
folks,
button
the
above your
Osprey
head with the
Airways
flight attendant on it. It
737-800
does not
livery will
turn
be
us on.
ready today. I'm still waiting for a ping off taxi. The way it was left yesterday was that it's pretty much ready, so hoping we'll be able to use it tomorrow, but if not, we might have to come up with something else to do route-wise. Those of you on channel members in the stream inside our Discord server. Denver traffic, Southwest 120s ready for departure at Mike 10, lining up runway 17 right. Reset rates, traffic's on. Might as well put terrain mode on as well, and that is set TARA. Just going to cycle traffic modes. Plus lights to strobe and steady. Logo lights are already off, anti-collision lights are all on, taxi lights off, runway turn off lights on. Let's flick the bar, get all the lights there on. Final check of the overhead, and one check of the warning recall. I'm determined to have a smoother touchdown at Boise this time round, but it's very difficult. Depends on the runway length as well. See there's the windsock. Take note, we've got a slight crosswind actually today for this departure, but a very nice long runway for us to exploit. Ian, that's weird because it is up to date. I updated it 2 days ago, unless it's come since. But I would have thought it was there. And we've got most of Concourse C, but the rest is missing, of course. Very weird. Might be something I'm going to have to investigate further, I think. Okay, leg 2 of 2 today, and Freedom One is ready for departure. So, stick goes forwards, and we're going to make sure our charts are ready for the Zimmer 3, but basically we're going to take off and we're going to hand fly the first element of this, because we don't do that often enough. Let's set brakes off. Up to 40%, off on the brakes, wait for the engines to stabilise. There we go. Denver traffic, Southwest 120s taking off runway 17 right, Zimmer 3 departure to Chengi.
Airspeed alive.
A little bit of aileron into wind there,
80 knots.
which will help on our rotation. Big D-rate.
V1.
Rotate. Nice and slow in the rotation. There we are, correcting into wind there, and we've kept the wings nice and level. Gear up. Through 5,934 feet. Quickly grab a screenshot. We're going to begin a right turn, which is now. In fact, we can just follow the flight directors. That's going to do half the job for us. Have to do a bit of multitasking. Hear the trim working away. And keep the wheel coming round. We're on flap traction speeds for flap 1. Let's target flap up as well, why not? Let's just go for it. And we can go wings level. Ever so slowly, follow the flight directors. Look at that, the movements don't have to be harsh, they can be nice and smooth. Try and balance the aeroplane out. And from this point, wings level, we can go CMDA engage with our VNAV on, and there's our first hand-flown departure. Away we go, let's clear the terrain map there and add this up. Away we go. The old Denver airport down there, scaling into the background. 250 knots, and we can, for a little while, enjoy some wing views.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now use your laptop computers. Please remember all electronic devices must remain in airplane mode for the duration of our flight.
Doc says, being the real US pilots hand flying the departures, leaf out of Matthew's book, of course, if he's still watching. Gives you a good idea of what the aeroplane can do as well in the sim. At or below 10,000, so we've levelled off at 10, 252 knots. We can pop these off. Check pressure, cabin is going up nicely, it is. And that's all working quite nice as well, everything seems to be a bit of a dream at the moment. Got those great wing views as well. Hopefully everybody's excited for the Osprey Airways 737-800 livery. Tapsi's been hard at work painting it for the last week. A couple of Easter eggs to go and find. And a custom cabin as well. We've created our own magazines, safety demonstrations and all that sort of, safety cards I should say, and all that sort of thing. Very much looking forward to you guys being able to enjoy that. I can't wait to fly it as well actually. We need to think of a POG route, as a couple of you guys like to say. The inaugural 738 service. There's Denver's CBD there in the background, just underneath the wingtip. Birdman's hoping for a sim update 10 up arrival this week. Very exciting. Yeah, where should we go for the 738? It's a hard question. 6 screenshots on Volanta. Badges up already off the Boise. Very nice. Who else have we got? I think we've lost most people. In fact, I can't see anyone else connected. Tapsy, hello. Here he is. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Ian, I don't know, I don't fly in America, but these are fixed, retractable. My general rule has always been over 10,000, turn them off. But there are a lot of regional variations as well. Can be quite difficult to keep up with at times too. Just go whatever works, I suppose. Where shall we go for our 737-800 Osprey Airways delivery flight? First inaugural service flight, rather. I feel like we should do something like maybe Samos back to Manchester, or something like that, perhaps Samos or Samos Skiathos to Manchester, so we do a really short field takeoff as well in the 737-800. That can be quite difficult actually, and a bit of a test. I don't know, what do you guys think? Or we could do something like Manchester to Skiathos. Birmingham, in fact we could do Birmingham to Skiathos. Birmingham's always a good one. Or Newcastle. We were going to do Newcastle recently, but some of you might prefer to see that being held in reserve for those Thompson flights or Jet2 or Ryanair flights that we're going to be doing in the future. There you go. For those of you who use X-Plane 11 and you used enhanced skyscrapes or active sky, they will no longer work with X-Plane 12 because Laminar Research have removed the APIs required for the custom atmosphere and cloud add-ons from the SDK. So there is no way currently to make them compatible with X-Plane 12, and there likely won't be a way in the near future from the enhanced skyscapes developer. Thanks Automator for sharing that in Discord as well. Interesting. Bets, howdy. Fritz says definitely Skiathos. Matthew can't wait for the 738 Osprey livery. MPS Gaming, yeah, nor can I. It's going to be very, very exciting. Granny Smith says do a round trip to Arukri, Iceland. Short field, great weather currently in Iceland and used in real life by 738s. Is there any scenery for that though? Gav, no worries buddy, have a good one. Thank you very much. Hope the wife is getting better as well. Wind this up, we get that up to 80. I'll probably go 160 now actually, there's top of climb. Let's pop those VORs off. Gav, thank you very much, really appreciate that. Thanks for all the support. Did miss the Rockies ridgeline there, but we can catch a bit of a wing view as we pass over. Evil Cookie says, did you ever get approval to talk more about FSLTL? Sadly no, it's all being kept very under wraps still, very hush hush. Let me check again, it says. just going to dig it out in Discord, see if I got a response from them. Adam says, are they planning to fix so you can move in the cabin? What do you mean? I know in the future they're hoping to make it work, but like open the door and things like that. FSLTL Gen Dev. Yeah, I mean it's nothing really I can talk about some of the stuff in here, but they are making progress still, which is nice. Evil Cookie, no rules at all. JB did a flight from Johannesburg to Mauritius yesterday in the 737-800. Around 4 hours, the sim worked wonderfully. Very good to hear. So there are no stutters, no frame drops, or any other weird stuff. That's really promising to hear, in fact. Now we're at Changi. Adam says, don't understand how to download custom views for the 737. So you could just follow my tutorial for how to set custom views yourself. And what it does, it just makes you change a figure inside the aircraft config. And then with that, once you're spawned in, you use dev menu to resync folders. It's a quicker way of doing it. And effectively what it means is you can then trick the sim into thinking the camera's further back. You set a view either side. You then put the figure in the aircraft config back again to the normal original figure, resave the aircraft config, resync the package inside dev mode, and then it will put the camera back, but it will remember the settings, the camera modes that you just saved, if that makes sense. Makes more sense on the video. FPS Gaming, yeah, the toolbar pushback memory leak issue. Big problem with it. Which is why I go into here and I unclick it. But I've reinstalled it for today, just for today basically, to give it a go, see what it's like. It's been quite a long time since we last used toolbar pushback. Figured, why not give it another go today? I think so, Badger, I think so. then we've got VerticalSim's Boise Airport to arrive at for our final destination today as well. Very exciting. This is their newest scenery that they have available to purchase for Microsoft Flight Simulator. The links again are in the description if you do want to get your hands on it via Contrail. I think with things like toolbar pushback you have to turn them off for now, otherwise you're relying on things outside of the sim potentially becoming problems, causing memory leaks and all that sort of stuff. I feel like it's been a while since we've flown into Samos, no not Samos, sorry, Skiathos, so it'd be quite interesting to see what that would be like with the 738, should that be the choice. But I'm leaving it up to the channel members in our club lounge in Discord to decide. Yeah, Volanta's been updated today, folks. As Doc was saying earlier, it includes X-Plane 12 early access support. It now also has Volanta 1.3.9 has a day/night layer. HACOTS, whatever that is. Yeah, no idea. Aircraft filtering options, barometric pressure settings, and more. Doc, too late for that. We're going for 10 right, not changing it again. Too many problems in the FMC when we did that. J-Bay saying, been using the PMDG built-in pushback tool by the FMC. Seems to work, although it's not quite as flexible as toolbar pushback. Would be quite nice to be able to learn how to control it a bit better though, because I struggle with the self-driving function if I'm honest. But beyond that, if you can get the nice left and right turns, 90-degree turns via the inbuilt FMC pushback helper thing with the PMDG, it's really very good. Adam, yeah, well, give it 2 months approximately, and I reckon we'll be able to enjoy one. It's going to be awesome. Popvin says, is it normal for the vertical speed to fluctuate so much? In what context? Depends on the context really, depends what's going on with the aeroplane and the weather. You might have quite a bit of turbulence, that will change the vertical speed. You might have gusts at high levels, that can change your speeds as well, your vertical speeds. Yeah, sadly I think with its problems and now the release of GSX as well, of course, which we have been enjoying, and the fact that PMDG 737 can push back really nicely with a lot of very good options in the FMC. Phoenix have got their own pushback in the EFB as well, but it is pretty rubbish, let's be honest. I feel like toolbar pushback now, having not been updated for quite a while, is starting to drop off the face of the earth a little bit, which is not ideal. But these freeware tools have to be updated and developed by the developer. If they don't have time anymore, which appears it might not have, then eventually they will start to become more problematic in the sim. It would be quite nice for Sim Update 10 to release sooner rather than later as well, to be totally honest. We've been waiting quite a while, haven't we? Adam says, am I the only one that can't set the parking brake in the 737? It depends what you're trying to do with it, to be honest. Make sure you've got the correct things set up. So to set the parking brake, you need to fully press the pedals down. So fully depress the brakes and then you click the parking brake toggle. Yeah, Potfin, it could just be the gusts. Is it in climb or is it in descent? And what mode are you in? Are you in vertical speed mode or are you in VNAV? There's lots of things it could be, basically, is what we're trying to say. I think that'll be us at cruise. There we go. Just see the nose ever so slightly inching down now. We heard the C chord as well. Cocolada, howdy. As if you were surprised. Oh, the vertical speed at the top right of your screen. Yeah, it just, well, the aeroplane is in a life environment, isn't it, really? So the winds and things will be changing all the time. It's trying to maintain the speed on the profile as the winds are fluctuating slightly. For example, the aeroplane might need to just ever so slightly tweak the vertical speed, but obviously as well as we fly higher, the air is thinner. The engines have to work harder through climb at the higher ratings, at the higher settings, M1 as well. So eventually, over time, our vertical speed will slowly reduce as well. We're flying with very high cost index today as well, of 60. So we're pushing what the aeroplane can do to our cruisers at Mach 80 by default today. But we've also asked it to therefore fly in the climb a lot quicker too. And that then in turn gives us a lower rate of climb and a lower vertical speed as well. Yeah, as Bob's saying there's Adam asking about the parking brake issue. They've made it as realistic as possible now. You have to depress the brakes fully because, as Bob is saying, it's a pressure switch basically. You've got to push the brakes down to pressurise the brakes, fill them full of pressure, get the brakes nice and locked on if you like, and then you set the parking brake. And all that does is it just sets the pressure that's in the brakes currently. So if I just press the brakes a tiny little bit, a teeny weeny little bit, and then press the brake, pull the parking brake on, effectively the brakes wouldn't be set. Doc says you should try the new Project Megapack A330 and tell us what it looks like now after coming back from its death. See, my issue with Project Megapack, they've kind of resurfaced, but I still remember their Discord server from about a year ago and their closing statement on the announcements with just a barrage of abuse, and it was pretty, some of the stuff was pretty nasty in the last couple of months of that project, as they kind of all tore themselves apart and started arguing publicly with one another and slating people left, right and centre. And it's kind of left a bitter taste in my mouth still, the fact that they've come back. I don't want to use their PMP A330 because A, we've got the Headwind A330, which is very good, and B, they left the community in such a horrible way. I don't want to give them any time unless they've massively changed. They put their hands up to what they did previously and they're offering something that's worth our time, even if it's free. That's my opinion anyway. Plus, why have they come back? They left being so angry at the community, closed down being so angry at the community. Why have they come back? Is he bored? Does he want to be popular? I don't understand what the intention is behind it. And there will be a reason for it, and I'm just not sure I'm confident that the reasons are good. You know, like you install the installer, for example. You're installing their program onto your computer. What are they harvesting? Are they taking data? Are they using data? Are they selling it on? I don't know. But basically what I'm trying to explain, I suppose, hypothetically, is my trust for them is completely wrecked. It's gone. And I'd like to think that most people with common sense would avoid using them as well, or at least would avoid it or use them with massive amounts of hesitation and a deep dive into what they're about nowadays. I'm very much of the opinion that you make a rod for your own back. You then can't come begging back to the community saying, hello, we're back, please like us again, and pretending like you hadn't fired out a whole torrent of nonsense previously. Right, Navograph. We're configured for the Reaps. No, we're configured for the Court 4 RNAV arrival via Reaps, which is there. So Reaps will be at or above flight level 240, Saudi at or above flight level 190, Durso above 14,000, Core above 12,500, Bowls above 9,900, and then Arexi at above 9,600 at 250 knots. We're expecting runway 10 right with the RNAV approach, so we'll then continue at Arexi at 281 degrees to Grizzy, descending down to 8,900 feet. Then leaves, then Roby 8,100, and then we'll pass basically a left downwind leg 8,000 feet at Colkey. It's showing there landing runways 10 left right. Expect a signed approach, all radar vectors to final approach course. Now we're going to expect our assigned approach, so from Colkey we're then going to go onto the RNAV approach, Zulu runway 10. So we're going to continue on the same heading, 282, to Oyisi, descending down all the way around on this base turn to Isebi, which is just there, the edge of that fixed ring for 5 miles from the Boise VOR. 3,800 feet, final approach point. Wings level, and then looking to land 10 right. So it looks like this is going to be quite a quick, quite a dynamic approach RNAV initially, and then we'll hand fly the very last little bit perhaps. Runway 10 right is on the right hand side, so we're going to have to vacate left because the terminal, by the looks of it, is up here. So more than likely, a little bit awkward design actually, because Echo and Delta both go back on ourselves a little bit, so it's a tighter turn. So we might look at Charlie right down the bottom, or we might end up vacating at Delta instead. but in all likelihood, probably going to use auto brake 3 for this one. And then we want Stan Bravo 17, which was on the inset, just there on the pier coming out. Matthew says the only livery that matters is Osprey Airways. Happy days. Joey Goofy, yeah, so I just don't understand why they've come back. There has to be a reason behind it. I just remember how angry and how bitter they were on their Discord server when they were closing down. And they were furious, throwing hatred on people across the community in an announcement, and I just think it's surprising they've come back and expect everybody to have forgotten, unless that is literally what they expect. Birdman, any live streams this weekend? No, unfortunately I'll be back at work. I've only got today and tomorrow off basically, and then I've had Thursday, oh hold on, what month are we? We're September. Yeah, Thursday was a day off, that's been cancelled, I've been called into work, and then I'm working all the way through the weekend. I was supposed to be off on Monday, that is a day off that has also been cancelled, so I'll be in work that day as well, all day. So yeah, today, tomorrow, the only 2 live streams this week, and then I'll be looking into next week, around the 13th, 14th, 15th, most likely, around then for the next ones. Doc has spotted Coca Lada in Salt Lake City. Neil's back, welcome back. How's the dog walk? We've still got quite a way to the top of the descent as well, 100 and or 200 or so miles roughly. What we could do is be nice and proactive and bring in our weather data forecast for the winds. Automate it exactly. To be honest, I've not used the headwind for a very long time because it's not really been updated too much, has it either? But it was always good fun when we used it. But for me, it was too much. There were too many things lacking with that, with the way that it taxied and the way that it flared and floated like an A320 on touchdown. All a little bit weird. It's kind of, as much as I wanted to like it, it left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, I suppose. KBOI, 150 at 4 knots for the wind, 3006 for the QNH. Lovely stuff. Husky Dan, hello, welcome aboard. First time catching you live. Good to see that you've been able to tune in today. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Love the videos, and thanks for all you do. You're most welcome. The one thing I'm doing at the moment as well, behind the scenes, I'm trying to sort of speak with Toby, who make the Toby eye tracker thing that everybody keeps asking if I'm going to get. I'm speaking to them at the moment effectively to try and get a community discount for the channel. For those of you who watch this channel, trying to lock in a 5% discount, something like that. So even if I don't use it that often, I'll still be able to offer you guys something, so that if you want to buy something like that, you've got a code that you'll be able to use, a discount word or something that will give you 5% off. If that's something that sounds good. But I've also downloaded DCS, so I'm looking into getting a head tracker so I can try and maybe fly my F-18 a little bit easier. Flying that with a yoke is hard enough, let me tell you. David, good to hear. Yeah, I keep hearing very positive things from yourself and a couple of others like Matthew that have got it. And I have resisted something like that for a long time, and I don't know if it's because I'm worried that my CPU might be a bit overstressed once I start adding things like that in as well. Does it affect your performance on the sim for you guys that already use it? I guess these are sort of questions that I've got as well, but when I found out I could potentially get you guys a 5% off code, those of you who haven't got a head tracker but want to get one, or an eye tracker, I figured it might be something that would be quite nice to be able to offer at least. Doc saying MSFS really needs a Salt Lake City scenery. It's a big hub. The default terminal layout is very outdated. Yeah, I can't say I've ever flown into Salt Lake City, to be fair, and that's probably why. Well, because there's very little that it offers. Where is Salt Lake City? Oh, there it is. Hergy and the MD-82, of course. David, that's good to see. That's good to see. And Matthew as well. Reassuring. David, nice. You know what? That's one thing I really want to be able to do as well. I want to upgrade over time my graphics card and things like that, so that I can potentially stretch into the 4K world as well. I'd love to see the sim in 4K over 1080p. But of course you need a heck of a performance thing for it as well. Neil saying MSFS in 4K is amazing. Buying new is very tempting, David. Yeah, I found myself speccing one up the other day. Even things like VR, pop in there saying Microsoft Flight Simulator VR is breathtaking. It's things like that that I'd really like to start to venture into, just to give it a go, even if it means that over the course of a couple of general aviation flights we enjoy some GA. Not sure if I'm not sure if I want to use VR for the airliner stuff, to be honest. Yeah, I think VFR is when it would come into its own. That and helicopter flights as well, perhaps, and then things like DCS. Because I want to get, I want to try and get into DCS a little bit, but it's so alien to flying the airliners that I do struggle. And there's so much to learn. Somebody said actually a couple of weeks ago, it's a very steep learning curve in comparison, and it sure is. Oh, very nice, exciting. Birdman saying, I thought you had a high spec that would do 4K. No, Bob, I think it's medium spec-ish. And as Fritz is saying, new GPUs around the corner, but of course, all the time, new CPUs are coming out, new motherboards are all coming out as well. E-Hawk, now, a couple of us were having a discussion at work about the C-130 Hercules coming to DCS, and we were kind of thinking what the point of it is, because I guess the only thing you can really do there is drop sort of pretend cargo or refuel at push. But beyond that, I'm not really sure what you would do with the C-130 and DCS, to be honest. KDEN, well, Toby eye tracker, to be fair, at the moment is on sale. I think 20% off, roughly. Not sure. But even if you miss the sale, watch this space. I'm hoping to try and get a 5% code for you guys. David, interesting. So I suppose then on those multiplayer servers and things like that on DCS, you could have people setting up FOBs and dropping cargo off and all sorts of stuff, whilst then other guys are scrambling in jets and things. I suppose is that what would happen? Gogolada says, I bought the FT-Sim plus €2 sound pack from his €90 Mad Dog add-on, and it makes it 10 times more immersive. Yeah, it's great that it sounds more immersive and everything else, but good grief, it frustrates me that for €90 they just can't be bothered with sounds and textures. The Mad Dog, that's pretty disgusting in my opinion. Interesting. Popman says he's been flying his PMDG 736 on his Samsung Odyssey HMD Plus, and he's in disbelief over the experience each time. So those of you who use things like VR headsets in airliners like this, the PMDG 737-800, do you find that you just use it on the ground for taxi and then you stop, or do you use it for the whole flight? Because I mean, how do you get around the motion sickness and things like that as well? The last time I used a virtual reality headset, I found after about 5 minutes of playing a space game, I was feeling really unwell. Because obviously your body's not actually moving, but your brain is made to think it is. J-Bay, Neil, absolutely. Exactly my thoughts too. There needs to be a lot more pushback onto the developer, Leonardo, to fix and improve it. The Husky Den, for me, the PMDG 737 is miles ahead of the Fenix. Even just performance, frames per second wise, this is so smooth compared. The Fenix wrecks my PC. Sometimes I find myself 10-15 frames per second. With this, I can be somewhere like Iniscene's Heathrow or Origami Gatwick, which is really quite heavy on performance, and I still have maybe 20, 25, 30 frames per second. Interesting, Neil. So just increase slowly over time to get used to the motion sickness. Bob says it's awesome. Use it all the time, no motion sickness for him. Mark, good morning, California, very nice. Cocolada says the Mad Dog is pretty similar on performance as Fenix. I think I remember you saying the Mad Dog is pretty rubbish on performance actually as well. Okay, there's Reaps, and our top of descent marker in about 90 nautical miles. We'll be on that quite quickly. So, we've already configured for the RNAV approach. It's an RMP straight and landing runway 10 right, so that should, I think, mean we've got LNAV and VNAV. Yes, VNAV as well. Warning for uncompensated Varo VNAV system procedure is not authorised below -14 degrees or above 54 degrees Celsius. The VGGS, or VGSI, sorry, and the RNAV glide path are not coincident, which means basically the PAPIs will give us a different reading. Interesting. Final approach course is 102. I'm going to set that here, just so I have a visual reference for it. Airport elevation is 2872, so we're going to go for 3,000 feet for the pressurization panel. 2872. 2850 is actually the closest, so there we go, that's set. Decision height 3219, but because that's a heck of a lot of scrolling, I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to set the rad out instead to 383. 383. Runway 10 right, Cocolada. Doc made me change it. Got quite angry. Spencer, welcome aboard. Thank you for subscribing. Frank Boulanger as well earlier on. Stefanos, hello folks. Great to have you on board with us. If you've not done so yet, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Make sure you give the stream a like throughout today as well. See if we can hit nearer to 100 before we arrive. And if you want to get your hands on any of the scenery from either Flightbeam Studios Denver, or VerticalSim Omaha, or Boise, or the PMDG 737, or any of the other add-ons we've been using, like the Luke Air Tour for the cabin announcements, just check the live stream description and I've linked them all there for you guys, so you've got somewhere nice and easy to reference them from. Landing data as well, we want 59.8. Roughly, so that's set. QNH is 3006. 3006. I'm just thinking actually if we've got any, we've got Boise VOR 1133. close. And I know there's a fixed ring for that, but I don't want to use that one because it's going to get confusing. What I will do is set a fixed ring for runway 10 right instead, so we can know where is that actually. It's going to be wings level at a Sebe at 2.9 miles. Holy Christ. Do 3. And we'll do 8. We've added 2 fixed rings in there as well. It was auto brake 3, and we're going to use full reverse. Don't need any anti-ice. We'll do a little warning recall. Well in advance of it all needing to be done though. All we'll need to do is reset the MCP altitude in the end. Wavada-san, good afternoon, welcome. Christ, Doc. Managed to free up 888 gigabytes. Crikey. What was that? All on X-Plane 11? And is that to then install X-Plane 12, Doc? Or is that to have even more space available for Microsoft Flight Simulator stuff? Neil, good, yeah, it's probably something that's worth mentioning actually. Fixed rings don't have to be 6 miles, 10 miles. They can be whatever you guys find comfortable to help prompt you for the approach phases. So if you wanted one 80 miles from the airport to know when you're 80 miles away, you could do a fixed ring on the threshold for 80 miles if you wanted to. Just find whatever works for you. And Neil's saying there Neil's found that adding 3 fixed rings at 5, 10 and 15 DME is really helping him sort his stuff out and get ready for landing. So if that works for Neil, that's awesome. That's exactly why you want to use fixed rings. You can put in as many as you want, you can set them up as you want, whatever ranges, just whatever works for you guys. There you go, Doc says his fixed rings are always 10 and 4 DME. Find whatever works for you guys. I tend to do 6 and 10. Sometimes I'll do 4 and 10. Today we're doing, what are we doing? I forget. Sometimes I throw in an 8 mile fixed ring if I'm feeling a bit crazy. Fixed rings today, there you go, 3 and 8. First time using them, but they make sense for the particular approach that I'm doing in my brain. The next one is going to be setting this down and then monitoring the VNAV as well to make sure it doesn't go really nose down. That could actually be, you know what, the VNAV thing could actually be pushback. Talk about pushback acting up, because I know it does do that in the Phoenix. So I wonder if that nose down attitude we had earlier on was a trigger or a result of that. There goes the woofer. Good old Hermes. Bunch of thieves. Well, what they call now Every, aren't they? They're called Every in the UK now because the reputation was so awful as Hermes. They were stealing everything, losing everything. They decided we'll change our name so everybody forgets. Just having a good having a little read through the charts basically, just so I'm quite happy with what I want the aeroplane to do. Between Reeps and Soldi is 22 miles. Between Reeps and Dersu there's 50 miles. And we've got to get down to at or above 14,000 there. So we'll just let the VNAV do its thing. What do we want to get down to actually? 8. That's 2, yeah. Jan, hello. Dan's asking, will I be getting X-Plane 12? No, it doesn't look that great. It doesn't look like a massive improvement over X-Plane 11. It just looks like it has some puddles and some clouds, as somebody said earlier on. I think it looks wildly disappointing from what I've seen so far. In fact, very, very disappointing. Even for the early access price, I think, as Doc has just said, it is not worth the money at $60. And it's not worth it for early access. I think it's just rubbish. It looks. I mean, the Airbus with the Boeing Fault FMC, what is that about? I took one look at that and I thought, no, not interested. I've always had in the back of my mind a consideration of, you know what, maybe I will try X-Plane 12 if it is as good as the marketing guys are saying it's going to be. Marketers lie because they want to sell money. They want to get money by selling their product. You have to look away from all of the marketing garbage that these companies come out with. You've got to look around that. Ignore the buzzwords that they come out with, like X-Plane 12 kept coming out with they kept throwing in words about physics, immersion, realistic, things like that. As a simmers, we go, oh, physics, oh, immersion, yes please. But nah, not interested. It doesn't look that great, to be honest. I think the Headwind A330 looks much better than the X-Plane 12 A330. Like 3D water. Unless you're going into the water, you don't need it to be that 3D. They're saying X-Plane 12, the world's most advanced flight simulator. You remember when the Mad Dog released the MD-80 for Microsoft Flight Simulator? They called that the most advanced airliner in the sim, and then charged €90 for it, and it's crap. Oh, Tapsy, epic! Neil's excited. Delivery is ready. Very, very exciting. Will it be uploaded and ready by the time we land at Boise? So I want to download it and get a screenshot done. And hopefully you guys on Discord in the members area will have decided on a route by the time we land as well. But I notice there's already just a couple of options there. Yeah, shuts no updates on the A330 for a good while, but it doesn't have a Boeing FMC. In fact, the PMP A330 is better than that. I think that everybody's gone for the hype of what the marketers keep saying in X-Plane. MSFS had the same thing as we were mentioning at the beginning, but yeah, no, I'm not interested in it, unfortunately. Lucky67 saying X-Plane 12 equals X-Plane 11 with an A330 using a Boeing FMC. What a blunder. Yeah, so Cocolada, you're saying it would be worth it if it was half the price. That's pretty crap. The sounds and textures look horrendous, but nah. Brit's saying, can we get a preview of it on stream? What do you mean? Preview of what? JB saying, for me, I get MSFS with Game Pass, which I also use for other games. I'd rather take the $60 that you use for X-Plane and buy a new aircraft or add-on in MSFS. There goes VNAV, we're on the way down. There we are, 2,600 foot per minute-ish, that'll do. Of the new livery, yeah, well, not sure if it'll be ready in time to show. Jan saying, I'm very glad to be honest because I didn't want MSFS to die, so I don't think it ever would have done, but I think for me where they've fallen down on X-Plane 12 is it's not much of an improvement over X-Plane 11, and I know that's probably difficult to do, but you're looking at a huge generation between FSX and MSFS. You're not getting that difference in X-Plane 11 to X-Plane 12. Birdman saying he had great flights on X-Plane 10 and 11. Someone was saying the same thing earlier actually, same sort of comment. But now I'm on MSFS, having seen X-Plane 12 videos, there is no going back. They have hardly made any progress. Absolutely, but this is where their marketing team have done well. Because their marketing team have covered, they threw out all the buzzwords, all the blah, to make it sound like it was going to be a genuine hardcore competitor visually to MSFS. It just looks like X-Plane 11. Yeah, to be fair, the CRJ sounds for Aerosoft Cocolada are pretty good as well, so I don't really think FTSim offers anything for the CRJ. I've tried both. I preferred Aerosoft's default sounds to that. 3,550. Wowzers. That's a strong descent. We'll monitor it. Yeah, there we go. Back. Look at that for descent speed. 307. Wow. That's so fast. Oh. Cost index is 60. Zoom zoom. David saying that another streamer's verdict was if you have X-Plane 11 and you have it set up well, stay on X-Plane 11. And for MSFS players thinking of trying X-Plane, wait a while. Not the most stunning endorsement. Exactly, MSFS isn't going anywhere, and it's important we have competition for Microsoft Flight Simulator, as we discussed earlier too. That's really important because Asobo need a challenger. Asobo need, even if it's a little Yorkshire Terrier running around in the garden trying to nip your ankles, rather than it be a bulldozer coming in at you, they still need something trying to nip away at them, even if it's a leech stuck on their leg. They need some sort of competition that drives future updates into being as good as they can be. Exactly, Husky Den. Yeah, it's quite a disappointment. David, it is. Yeah, Aurora Ops.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we make our final descent, we ask that you please return all seatbacks and tray tables to the full upright and long position.
does too, that's alright. Which one? The Yorkshire Terrier nipping at your ankles or a leech trying to suck on a Sobo's leg? Oh, it's a strange way of explaining the concept of different varying levels of competition, but hopefully you get the message. JBay, absolutely. And when you get developers like PMDG absolutely nailing the flight model for the 737, I think this sim is unbeatable. A Husky Den, thank you very much, buddy. Welcome on board. Great to join us as a channel member there. Thank you very much. All juicy and green. You know what? We've been flying the 737-800 for a couple of weeks now, and we still haven't had a tail strike. It's a great livery, isn't it, Jan? Cheers, Huskiden. Make sure you link in the Discord server, link your account to your YouTube account via the Discord integrations in the user settings of Discord, and it'll add you Huskiden into the club lounge, like the members only section in there. Jan, yeah. Wait till the 900 and you will get a tail strike. I feel like today I've been able to sort of refine my takeoff roll a little bit more, so I'm finding now I'm able to start the rotation of the 737 a little bit more gently, so that as that tail starts to come up, it almost just lifts itself into the air, which is really nice. UC, hello buddy, good afternoon, hope you're well, and Mikael as well, hello to you, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you guys? Hope you're well. Yeah, Neil, that's epic. Well done. Yeah, I think J-Bay, I think the TFDI MD-11, I reckon that's going to be over 90 quid. I get a feeling it's going to be very expensive. Shut says you should do takeoff replays once in a while. See, those things really worry me because the sim isn't the most stable, is it? Let's face it. Things like replay mods and all that sort of thing, it does try and force the sim a little bit into potentially having issues. It also can break the aeroplane, so I tend to avoid purposely takeoff replays. I could do a landing replay today if that's something that you guys would like to see again. Boise traffic, southwest 120, 737-800, altimeter 3006, descending 14,000, 8,000, overhead court, port 4 arrival, expecting RMP approach, runway 10 right. We'll report at Colk, Boise traffic. Oh yeah, $100. Was it an extra $20 for the expansion? So I think you're looking at 120, 130 US dollars in total for the MD-11, I think. But hell, you know what? I really, really, really am interested in having a look at least to see what it is going to be like. Decel point coming up. Rexy at 250 knots. So that little point there is where the aeroplane has said we need to start slowing down to meet 250 at Orexi. RFP actual, and the minimums for this allowed is 0.3. Good. It's always 0.06 to be fair, so it's always in limits. So I won't bother looking at it anymore. First time into Boise. Birdman, yeah, and that's why I tend not to do that very much. As you're saying there, every time you try the recordings, recording landings and replaying them, the config is never the same because it doesn't really read those elements of what the aeroplane's doing, so it completely mucks it all up. Kishan, hello to you, welcome on board. Spencer, welcome, thanks for subscribing folks. Great to have you with us today. A lot of turbulence. 350. Absolutely J-Bay, absolute must-haves. PMDG 737-800, PMDG 777 and the PMDG 747 are going to be insanely good. Hopefully we won't be waiting too long for those either. Who knows? Crew 10, click the bar, pop the lights on, put it steady anti-call. Lights and signs as required. Give the cabin crew a ding with the attendance button.
Traffic, red 118, report for arrival from Arabia, flight level 1 selection.
Oh yeah, no idea. The 737 MAX and PMDG won't be a good couple of years yet, so look at that for a view. Such a great livery. Okay, absolutely battered by the turbulence as well. Joe Yang, hello. What's next from PMDG, David? The 737-900 and then the 777. So hopefully we won't be waiting too long for either of those. We are quickly need to now because that was a change that we forgot to monitor. Blue is the missed approach procedure, the green are our fixed rings that we've put in. There's the Boise VOR that we can see there as well. 8,400 feet. Don't really want to descend any lower than this, to be honest. I feel like it's been quite keen in the descent. JB, yeah, that's potentially one of the future aircraft. We'll have to wait and see for that one though. Look at that. Well, we have a couple of minutes prior to final. Put those 2 screenshots we've just taken onto the Balancer. Yeah, that'll be the next question. What variations of the 777 will we be able to enjoy when that does arrive? I'd imagine that, well, the 200, 300 are obvious options. Charts. Yeah, there's a decel point there as well. Good. We should then go to 210. Peter, hello. Thank you very much. It is a very great livery, isn't it? That is linked in the description if you want to download it for yourself. Bulky's mandatory 8,000, and then we're very quickly going to be into the approach. So I'm going to set 210 now. Back, oops, wrong button, fat fingers. Going to set our up speed. Now I'm going to bring this into the 10-mile range. You're up, thank you buddy. Streams are relaxing and perfect for studying. First time flying into Boise as well. VerticalSim scenery. There's our first glimpse of it down there. And it is properly bumping the aeroplane at the moment, getting thrown around. And a last little clip of the outside of Freedom One before we make our way in. So we're level at 8,000, our speed's now gone to up. I'm going to arm the spoilers. What else? 7.2 to a Yeezy, and then we're looking at another 10, so 20 track miles to go, 20 track miles. Boise traffic, Southwest 120s overhead, Kolki 8,000 feet, inbound for the RMP, Zulu approach, runway 10 right, we'll report turning base. So you can see there how short that final approach is. It's literally a wings level of 3 miles, so we're going to go to flat 5 now, and I'm also going to set, where's our minimums? Be 219. Start getting down. Even that, just a little bit on the outside there, enjoying the external view, has caused just a little bit of an issue. Taxi, I'll have to do that in a minute. Critical phase of flight. Can't be checking anything else at the moment. We'll go flat 10. Get a bit of extra drag on the airframe, help the aeroplane out a bit. Not worried about navigated frequency courses or anything like that. We are now extending those. We're going to turning base any minute now, so I'm going to go ignition modes to continuous. Flaps already at 10, we're going to land flat with 30. Interval brake 3 is set up. We're going to move these to 10 miles, 5 mile fixed ring. I'm going to set this to 102. on the VNAV path a bit more now. Got arm approach phase. It's only CMDA for this. It's an auto ignition. You know what? It's not that kind of approach, is it? Or is it? I'll VNAV again. Let's see what happens here. 160. We're gonna go. Where are we? Boise traffic, Southwest 120's 5 mile turning final RNAV runway 10 right. It's the ignition mode, Jan. So yeah, basically as JB is saying there, it makes the igniters in the engine run continuously so they don't flame out during a critical phase like landing. Go gear down, flap 15.
2500.
42, 147. Flap 25. And it's on the RNAV glide path now as well. He says, we're about to find out if it's accurate or not. Flap 30, at 3 miles. There's the runway. It's almost like a circling approach, isn't it? Got to be at Seviet 3800. But I'm going to go auto thrust, autopilot, because I've not flown in like this at an airport like this, so let's give it a go. Asymmetrical thrust there that I've just noticed, so we're just rectifying that. Basically we're flying this as a visual approach now, folks. Recycle flight directors, 10 right. It said the RNAV approach path was very different to that of the Pappies, so we're kind of ignoring those a little bit. It's a bit steeper than we'd expect. And all of a sudden now we've got a tailwind again. 302 at 7, good grief. So it's going to be a bit trickier for us to get this down. Be proactive before we get to minimums.
500. Approaching minimums. 400 minimums. 300. 200. 100.
Whoa, that was ominous.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Hold, hold, hold. Touchdown. Reverse, green, and decelerating on the brakes. There's the passenger terminal on the left. It says as he slightly veers off to the right when he says that. Missed echo. We're going to go to reverse idle. We're just going to go to manual brakes as well. Fast caution for engines, that's just because we've got the reverse thrusters on, idle at the moment. Close those up. The APS game is very close. Boise traffic, Southwest 120 is vacated 10 right, crossing 10 left. spoilers. And Boise traffic Southwest 120 is clear of the runways. Taxi to gate 17, Bravo 17.
Bosch traffic, red 11 Echo, 6 miles runway 10.
On behalf of Southwest Airlines and your entire flight crew would like to be the first to welcome you. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened and your luggage
I've missed my turn, haven't I?
until the aircraft comes to a complete stop at the gate and the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. I would like to remind you to use caution when opening the
So we want to go into here. Oh, look at that. There's stand Bravo 17.
If you're continuing
Can't miss it, can you?
on 1060 to Seattle or Spokane, this is your aircraft, so please remain seated so Shannon can come
Great,
to the back
Bravo
of the
17. Let's see what happens with GSX. We don't want to follow me, we know where we're going. Handling by Southwest Airlines. Rogue Texaco truck. And we can pop the taxi lights off. And we're looking in for the marshaller. Southwest stairs are ready. Ask us to slow down there. Whoa. Horrendous performance there. There's a 737 arm there. I'm actually going to stop at the yellow line for the 737. I'm going to see what GSX tells me. There we go. Park brake set. Yeah, that's well out. Where is she? There is. She's telling me to put the engines down. Can't see anything. Right mess of that. Okay, park brakes on. APU is good, so let's go to those. Check APU gen. Then 1 and 2. 3. 4. Parked a bit too far. I did not. Right, so let's do GSX. Oh, there's Cocolada. He's already down. We're going to do deboarding.
The boarding requested.
And why not? Let's do catering as well. Request catering service. Yeah. Do that. Yeah, even with the default profile, this is working quite nicely. Parking, yeah, get that, but that's fine. MPS Gaming, this is a payware airport, yeah. VerticalSim's Boise.
Passengers, the boarding started.
Looks great, doesn't it? From the outside. GSX enhancing the visuals even more. Badger, good effort. And here we are, VerticalSim's Boise. So this is their latest scenery that they brought out for the sim. So while we're disembarking, we can go and explore. The links are in the description for the live stream today as well. Default jetways, didn't notice there. Nice to see some custom ones brought in perhaps. A really nice Alaska Dash 8 model here. It's the first time seeing this, by the way. I've not spawned in here before. The glass textures look a little bit washed out on the buildings, don't they? They don't look the best. That doesn't look that nice there. But the reflections, I suppose, that's what it is. It's just a reflection more than anything else. The sim can be, depends on your shadow settings and everything else, doesn't it? Let's face it. Here's the main terminal area. We do have animated passengers gear up aviation, yes. They'll be inside the jetty though, so we won't see them. What we'll do is we're going to work out towards the edge of what the scenery offers, somewhere here. It's quite vast actually, isn't it? Good grief. So we've got maintenance facilities and all sorts. VerticalSim are renowned or known with the X-Plane community, also the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and they've started to bring products into the Microsoft Flight Simulator instead, offering something. I mean, the buildings look a little bit default, don't they? But with some custom textures and signage put around them. But performance-wise, it's very good. Visually, it's okay. The terminal looked quite impressive driving up to it with those massive stand signs. Quite nice. That is the edge of the airport. Firehawk helicopters. We go to the other side here. We're going to get an idea for the size of the airport as well. Looks pretty good. And again, for a scenery, you're not going to go right up close to a lot of these hangars and things and look at them. From this perspective, it looks really, really very good indeed. It looks very nice. Gear up aviation, no, never, unfortunately. And yeah, as MPS Gaming saying, this is a huge improvement based on the default scenery here. Externally from this distance, it looks great, doesn't it? I think I saw a Chevron petrol station here somewhere as well. There it is, off in the distance. And a Denny's, good old Denny's. They've added elements around the airfield that bring it to life a little bit more as well. Blitz. Oh no, is it that bad? Explain 12, more critics. Oh dear. Welcome on board anyway, thanks for joining us at the end of our flight today. David, hello buddy. I can see some animated passengers there. Let's go to this view here a second, and we'll just switch the time forwards. Look at the night textures, because some of you guys like to fly at night. I mean, it's very bright, but that looks pretty shoddy, doesn't it? That doesn't look great. Go to the apron though, and the apron lighting looks fantastic by comparison. The ATR over there illuminated as well. See, there's a huge difference to the building texture, which looks pretty nasty, doesn't it? night time. Let's go to back to real time. David, very nice, exciting. The proper side, the correct side of the road. What's a couple of signs there? Do they give us any information though, or no? Interesting. On either side. Here we have a doubled up caution sign there as well. In fact, there's two that have been placed there. That's an error. Two at that one as well. Substance warning. No idea what that means. Nice to see they've animated passengers going in and out the terminal, but I don't know if we can actually go in. Oh, we can. Doesn't give us anything though in this section.
Catering vehicles are on their way.
Tell you what, performance now using GSX to do deboarding is just wiping it away. Holy moly. There's a couple of people.
Do you want to deboard crew?
No, I don't. I want my frames back. There's Cocolada in the Mad Dog. There is an interior in this section, which is nice. So this is where the main stands are, if you like. So it's good to see that they've added these in. Even if the ground, like the glass textures, aren't that great, they've tried to do some signage and things there. I mean, we get spoiled with visuals in MSFS, don't we? We get developers sometimes that blow us away with the level of detail that go into both freeware and payware sceneries. Dominic design team, Cocolada in fact with his Oslo scenery, remarkable. Really nice texture work inside and out, and this doesn't, bearing in mind this is payware, this doesn't really match up to that standard that we get spoiled with in MSFS, because the visuals can be so good in the hands of the right developer. Externally, quite nice. Certainly good enough for what you want. Let's see what's in here. The glass textures in some angles look really good. More of a departure stand. I mean, looking out over this section of glass looks epic. Look at that. Icmag GSX Southwest. That looks so good. Catering team, let's go. Haha, brilliant. I'm waiting for them to burst out so I can grab a screenshot. See, this is where GSX really sets itself apart now. Although it's decided deboarding is complete, so it's got rid of the jetty, just left doors one left wide open. There we are. Omaha to Flightbeam Denver to VerticalSim's Boise Airport. All on VATSIM on Microsoft Flight Simulator with the epic PMDG 737-800 working incredibly well as always as well. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's live stream. The Osprey Airways Boeing 737-800 is now available to download on flightsim.to. Very, very, very exciting indeed. I'm going to get that downloaded straight away, and we'll work on a route for the inaugural Osprey Airways 737-800 delivery from tomorrow. To join us tomorrow for a route yet to be decided. You'll find out when you see the schedule in the next hour or so. It's great to have you all with us today. Thank you for flying along, and welcome on board to our new members, the Husky Den and Nabil Games, all of our new subscribers, and Gav as well for your super chat. If you've not done so already, hit subscribe, hit like, and thank you very much to everybody who flew along today as well. I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for watching. Take care.